What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GameOverGreggy show. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Now, I love that song, Greg, and I'll bet you can guess why. That's right, Biodome. Remember Biodome?
If you would have given me maybe a breath to guess, that would have been probably top of the list.
Fruit at
the bottom, waiting to be stirred.
What does that mean?
It means she was ready to get fucked by Pauly Shore and that Baldwin guy.
Nobody wants to get fucked by Pauly Shore that badly.
Back then they did.
No.
They were lining up, girls, guys, dogs, to get fucked by Pauly Shore.
I like the scene where
me?
they go into he's giving the press conference with the thing, and they throw the banana shit at the window. He's like, if I see one more massive orgy, I'm moving to Tibet. And then they just bounce out. It was great.
You remember Biodome, Tim?
No, I don't.
Tim, Baby Blues, Tim Gettys.
When we get to Dire Straits with In Review, we'll do the Pauly Shore in review.
Okay.
And boy, you'll hate it.
Yeah.
You'll hate every second of it. But I will
My
love
favorite,
it.
I think, story about Biodome that has nothing really to do with Biodome is that, I'm a big Kevin Smith fan.
Yeah.
Watching the Mallrats commentary track as I do once a month. There is a great story in there of where the Mr. Svenning character, who's played by Michael Rooker.
Yeah.
They originally wanted that to be William Atherton, Walter Peck, who's the bad guy in Biodome as well, right?
Also one of the bad guys in Die Hard.
Wait, same guy, right? They're both Walter Peck.
Oh yeah, all the same guy. He played the exact same
sure.
character in like 15 movies straight.
But the best part about it was when they approached him for it, he was like, no, I don't want to do those kind of movies anymore. I only want to do serious movies. And then like the next 6 months did Biodome.
Hey man, Pauly Shore, huge star. And I'd probably put it up against, put it on the poll. Which one's a more popular, better movie? Excuse me. Back up.
I was going to say, start picking these words.
Which one made more money?
Oh,
Biodome
totally
or
made more
Mallrats?
money
So
than
we
Mallrats.
probably did the right thing there.
You think Life to Date? Or just at the box
feel like
office?
that's
I guarantee
you
it's still
just put
Life
up on
to
a poll. It's not an opinion.
I don't have my phone. Joe, grab my phone. We'll
That's
tweet
on
at Kevin
Google
Smith and see if we can get a response. Do you think Pauly Shore going to respond to that?
No, he's on Twitter, but I don't think he uses that.
We'll hit up Kevin. And
like
then you're rounding out the group for the second week in a row. Poe. You did so well yesterday. We brought you back. How's that
Also,
feel?
you have a flight in like 20 hours.
You're
so
just
like,
here.
We're just,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
You hang out long enough, you end up on the shows. Isn't that right, Cool Greg?
Yeah.
That's what I like to hear over there.
If you're wondering why there's vodka bottles on the table, you're going to have to watch the pre-show.
Why are you watching that pre-show? How many empty bottles of vodka are there in the freezer? Nobody knows. If you didn't know, you can watch. Well, there's a pre-show. You can watch the. I'm not doing it in the regular rigmarole here. You calling me off. Let's just get all that out of the way. Then I can do it. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is the GameOverGreggy show. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table, each bringing a random topic of discussion for your amusement. That brought back the from last GOG when we did it at the end, and Poe just slowly put his hand on the table as if to soothe it. If you like that, you can head over to patreon.com/kindafunny, where you can toss us a couple bucks and get a whole bunch of perks, extras, and goodies. You can watch us record the show live, which gives you a pre and post show. You can get the show 1 week early on the following Friday as a big video that has the pre and post show. You can get the audio early, or you can give us no money whatsoever and wait for it to be live on youtube.com/kindafunny and podcast services the following Friday. What's wrong?
You guys have way more energy than I do right now. I'm like
you wanted to party. Why did you take all these shots of Diet Coke if you're not going to party?
Man,
Why did you take shots of Diet Coke? You'll have to check out the pre-show to find out.
Man, I'm fucked up on DC.
Hey,
I'm fucked up.
Kevin.
Don't ask Kevin Smith what movie made more money.
Is that rude?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Life to Date did Mallrats said, hey, Kevin Smith, settle a bet. Life to Date did Mallrats, the superior film in parentheses, make more money than Biodome?
What if Biodome trounced it? You're like, hey, by the way, I'm just going to remind you that a Pauly Shore movie beat your movie.
Kevin Smith talks shit about his movies all the time.
That's fair. Is there anyone else we could tweet at that's an impartial judge on this? Because they're just going to Google it.
Leonard Moulton might know.
Wikipedia? It's not judgeable. There's a number that you look at, and it's either bigger or smaller.
Open your phone. That's a computer.
All right. Not a
But here's
monkey.
my thing: is I'm not arguing box office. Box office.
Which one had more cultural impact? Would
routed Mallrats. But I want to know Life to Date. Who has made more money? Because I feel like
home video streaming service. I don't think that information's available.
It is.
But I mean, and that's why we would go straight to the horse's mouth. Kevin Smith. He knows how many of the action figures have sold. He knows the poster sales. This is what I'm talking about. The book.
No, he doesn't.
The multiple books.
There's not a chance.
I'm saying the fact that I have this information that there's been this many products alone proves the fact that Life to Date.
How many products do we have? You don't know how much they've sold.
I know Biodome's made more money than Kind of Funny as a whole.
That's fair.
I'm not an idiot. Box Office Mojo. Here we go.
How do you spell biodome?
There it is.
There's
Oh,
a
they put a
goddamn
dash. They put
Are
a
you
dash
kidding
in.
me?
All right.
Pauly, Jesus
So
Christ.
total domestic gross for Biodome, $13 million.
Hard to believe there's no
420
foreign gross for this seminal comedy. Probably because people in other countries would not understand that. All right, so Box Office Mojo has this 13,427. Let's see. Sorry, Is Mallrats one word?
Yeah. 13.4.
Mallrats lifetime gross 2,122.
Now,
So unless they
Lifetime.
sold $11 million worth of
Action figures.
Joey Lauren Adams action figures.
According to Spaceballs, it's all about merchandise.
It
That's
is
true.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
what I
you know
mean?
what's sad? I went back recently and watched Spaceballs.
Didn't
And
live up?
Gotta say, it does not live up
What?
to my. I know. I was heartbroken.
Did it Raimi trilogy yet?
No, it's just the humor
I'm not giving
level
up on
is
this.
so.
You're allowed to be on the wrong side of history.
The humor level is just
on my
very
side.
bland by nowadays standards. Like there's stuff that's supposed to be kind of shocking and irreverent, and you're like, oh, you're just making fun of the movie industry from back then. So it's still a well-made movie. And shout out to Bill Pullman. And when they enter in the Winnebago, can you remember what song is playing? Because I played it for you one time.
Yeah, you did, but I already forgot.
Bon Jovi's "Raise Your
Bon
Hands."
Jovi.
So fucking good. There's a lot of great moments in that movie, but overall, I was like, God, this is fucking boring. Unfortunately, sadly.
Tim,
Not as
you're
good as the
you're,
Muppet Babies special.
you're a
Fuck, every
young
Muppet Babies is great.
buck, right?
I am.
Youngest guy at the table.
Yeah.
You're raised in a different generation. How much does Bon Jovi mean to you? You remember?
Not much.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Now, how many times have you been to karaoke?
A fair amount.
You've heard at least one Bon Jovi every time you go to karaoke.
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
You're
Yeah.
living on a prayer.
Living on a Prayer is.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a classic.
prayer.
And then there
John, did
was
you
one
go home
other
and
Bon
write-
Jovi song that was
It's My Life?
It's My Life. That's my touchstone to
It's
Bon
my
Jovi.
life. You
That was a
never
radio
catch me.
Radio Disney AM
Try
1310
fucking
classic.
try and catch me. John, did you go back to
Coming
the
from the
hotel?
booth.
Like I
You
told
write
you?
those lyrics?
John, did you go home
This
to
is
the?
a kind of funny joke that never made it to.
It was in a
to
car
air.
in Plano,
It was-
Texas, I think.
Yeah.
We were all
Yeah.
delirious. Yeah. Oh, God. Those were the days. Nick, you brought your laptop, which usually means you brought an actual topic.
I did. Do you want to kick it off with my bad boy topic?
Sure. Bad
So,
boy topic for
in a
life,
very-
Nick Scarpino.
Thank you, man.
He's got a brother named Matt,
my
Matt,
God.
Matt.
Follow him at Scarpino, man.
Sorry, Poe.
In a weird, in a weird turn of events yesterday, we were talking about NSYNC for some reason. I think it's because doesn't
In a
matter.
weird turn of events.
You follow me on this one.
No
for
one
the
can
block.
believe it.
We were talking about NSYNC, and I was blown away. I tweeted this out.
We also
that-
talked about it on GOG
We
yesterday.
did. We're gonna do it again because it's pertinent to my topic.
I
Just in
get
case
that.
anyone out there that's watching live was like, I didn't watch that because you guys had such bad technical issues. I wanted to blow my brains out. The star.
Suicide's not the answer for anything, but especially if your favorite podcast can't stream.
And it is Suicide Prevention Month. Oh, and that's September.
Glad you
we're
brought
out
it
of
up.
that.
Oh shit! You're moving on.
Now we're into Skeleton Month.
That's scary month. So we discovered yesterday a mind-blowing truth that the asterisk, the star, rather, it's not an asterisk, it's a star. I gotta stop saying asterisk. Comes before the N in NSYNC, and you and I were forever changed. We could not believe this.
It was like one of those FedEx era moments.
It's dude, right? Or the Subway arrow moments as well, because there's a Subway in there, and there's the arrow in the Subway logo. We'll get to that in a second. Over the weekend, randomly, the term the Mandela effect got introduced into my lexicon. Now, what's the Mandela effect, Tim? Thanks for asking. It is basically when an entire
Wait, cool,
group
Greg,
of
don't do it,
people
don't do it yet.
Don't do it. Well, you can do it now. It's fine.
Okay.
This one's fine. This one's not
Sorry,
crazy.
I'm sorry, cool Greg. I didn't know what was happening.
This is when a big group of people collectively remember something completely wrong.
Okay.
Okay. So what I thought would be fun was to be with.
But I forget. Real quick, are you about to explain more about? Because it was what
The
they all
reason
thought Nelson Mandela
had
was
died
dead.
a couple years prior to when he actually died.
Gotcha.
It's commonly used for like how do you spell something or this and that, but there are some very glaring ones that I was like, I did not know that. Now NSYNC, the logo for NSYNC, surprisingly not on any of the lists that I looked through, which I feel like is a
Because
massive
no one,
oversight.
I don't like. Don't get me wrong. I think you
Massive
What you guys
oversight,
did,
Tim.
you fumbled the ball yesterday. Because if
would
you
you
would have come in and just been like, "Hey, here's a piece of paper, write in sync the way you think it's written," I probably never would have even thought of an apostrophe or a star or anything.
That's because you're a fake fan then. Like,
I didn't realize. I'm
You were
sorry.
fucking listening to Garth
The
Brooks.
Stars
and
is
fucking
big upon
Thornton.
that.
Yeah, it's Garth Brooks.
I don't know.
And the Stars are arguably more important than Lance Bass.
And the thunder roll. Joey knows what I'm saying. And the lightning.
Brooks.
God damn it, Joey.
Standing
pop
outside the
country
fire.
fan.
That's a better one.
Oh, that's a good one too. What about Chris Gaines? You know what I
Oh
mean?
God, what
Also
about
a big
him?
country fan.
You know what I mean, Sam? What about Chris?
What
Gaines?
about him?
So what can be said about Chris Gaines?
What
It can't be said about the 16th
Garth
Chapel.
Brooks or everything. So what I thought would be do is to go through a few of these and quasi quiz you guys to see which ones you get right, and then also just say a couple because they blew my fucking mind. First one that always comes up on every list, is it Bernstein Bears
Oh,
or Bernstein Bears?
Well, it was the Bernstein Bears when we were kids, and someone retconned it to be something weird.
Berenstein Bears.
Isn't this one of those that could go both ways? Like some of the books were published in one way and some were published in a different way?
According to the masterful amount of research I did, i.e. this was on 3 different lists. It is in fact the Bernstein Bears. Berenstain Bears. Stain, not Steen.
Yeah. Growing up, I definitely would have said Berenstein Bears.
Berenstein Bears, yeah, because that's the way it was, and that's the way it should have been. That's a better name for these bears, Poe.
All right. Then.
But I also don't know what the difference is between Steen and Stein ever.
No.
My friend Bethany.
Well, it's the spelling.
Yeah. Is it Feinstein? I don't fucking know.
Bethany, you just call her Bethany. You know?
That's what I do.
Yeah.
She might be Mandela.
We're going to ease you into this next one. Okay, this is a quiz.
Please do.
Who is the biggest Star Wars fan here? This is a 2-part question. Poe.
Okay.
In The Empire Strikes Back, when Luke has his hand cut off,
Correct.
and Darth Vader looks at him and he said, Luke goes, "You killed my father." What is the famous line that Darth Vader says?
The Luke, I am your father.
Incorrect.
It is no.
It is no, I am your father. That is one of the most commonly misrepresented lines from Star Wars. This next one, probably the best.
But in Star Wars, what does Watto say?
Annie.
That's it. You nailed it. I don't even have to say
Annie. This character is stupid. This one blew my mind. And I didn't believe it at first. And then I Googled it and spent approximately 5 seconds verifying this and then said, let's just pass this off like it's gospel. What color is the entirety of C-3PO's body?
Gold.
Incorrect.
He's got a red arm, right?
No, he has a red arm.
Yeah, it eventually happens.
In the newest one, why does he have a red arm, though?
He says he gets it later, right?
It got it got ripped off in the comics, and he had to trade it with another droid.
And they did that as an homage, apparently, to his silver right leg. He had a silver leg the entire time in Star Wars that I have never seen.
I can see that.
And I have a picture of it right here.
Wow.
From the knee down, it's silver, which is weird as shit. And I never noticed it.
I'm gonna need.
Let's try
Cool
it.
Greg
You guys can try.
Cool Greg, Google.
C-3PO.
Oh, thank you. He's already there.
There's
There's one picture with it, but but next to it
Yeah.
is not.
click on the one to the right.
We actually need movie frames from these because
Yeah.
these might just be costumes.
I mean, that's
That's a
clearly a
toy.
frame. That's a frame from the movie.
Oh my god! All right, perfect background.
Scroll down one more. Click on the one second to last in this row. A movie still. Like, there it is.
Go down a bit more.
That looks like a crash test dummy. Okay,
You can't see it.
Hiding it?
Well, no, that's the red arm. That's from.
Oh
Force
shit!
Awakens.
Oh shit, dude!
On,
Wikipedia,
Jedi.
top right.
Top
right.
right. Yeah,
No,
one more.
one over.
There you go. There you go.
How
Return of the
did I
Jedi.
never
Shit.
fucking
It's
see
because
this?
there's so much going on. He's
No.
shiny. He's shiny in gold.
A bit annoying.
No,
A tad
Hold
bit
on.
annoying. You want bad things to happen to him.
This is important. Is this only in Jedi because he gets all fucked up in Jedi?
Evidently, it's from the get-go. Now, the reason a lot of people say you don't notice it in A New Hope is because the majority of the time you're seeing him on a desert planet, and the refraction of the colors are just melding it all together. But if you look at him in the first few scenes,
Right there.
evidently it's there. Yeah,
There
you see it.
Fucking is.
Isn't that wild?
That's crazy.
It's not like sterling silver like you would
dude,
notice
this,
it.
This is mind.
No, it's super silver though. But
It's
you're right. It's
silver.
just picking up the rest of it. You know what I
Is
mean?
Kevin available for a phone call right now?
I don't know. What time is it in Maui?
I don't know. Somebody call him.
I mean, it's
there.
yeah. I was gonna say it's.
I feel like this was probably
Is it 1 o'clock or is it later there?
because I don't think Toys had the silver leg, and I feel like that's
Probably not, because they were
part of
like,
what
we don't
ingrained
want
it
to
into
spray
my brain.
paint the extra part of it. And they probably just molded it and painted the whole thing silver or gold, excuse me. But that one I was like, no. And I had to Google it for a while. And then I had to I was like, I don't believe this.
And
I don't
this is
believe that I ever
mind-blowing.
saw that.
Here you go, take it. In case
Okay.
If he doesn't, feel free to leave his voicemail phone number on here so we can call Kevin in Maui.
Hey everyone, this is Kevin. I'm welding a bedpost right now. I can't get to the phone. Paula, no. Paula, no. Paula Bear.
What's the
I
difference?
don't even know what's happening in that voicemail.
You have reached the
All right.
We tried, Kevin.
What a butthole.
Yeah, we wanted to be your friend.
Shall we move on?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, this was the first good one. Good job.
Thank you. This is the best one. I probably should put that in there.
all I have.
The no I am your father one is amazing too.
Yeah.
Just everyone's
But it's
heard
like
it.
everyone knows that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But everyone didn't know it until about 5 years ago when it like became this big internet thing,
Sure. Fair.
right?
I'm just saying.
I remember when I first heard that, I was like, no fucking way. I was wrong.
Search your
Just
heart,
like
you
this
know it
shit.
to be true.
He does have a good look. No.
Now, Joey.
I am your father.
Here we
Yeah.
go, Joey.
I know you're a big fan of this series, as am I. What is the correct term for the seminal HBO show starring Sarah Jessica Parker? Is it Sex in the City or Sex and the City?
this is the part where I confess that I've never watched an episode of the show.
God damn it, I thought you were a big fan.
Sex and the City.
It is
Yeah.
Sex and the City, yeah. So there's a lot of those like that where you think it's one thing. For instance,
I did not think that.
Yeah.
really?
Me neither.
I always thought it was Sex in the City,
That makes more
I thought it
sense.
was
I did
And.
too.
but it's Sex and the City because the show apparently was about the city as well, which even though I didn't
She had
I didn't get
shoes
that.
too. It should have been called Sex in the Shoes.
Now,
Sex
you know
and Manola
who's the
Blahniks.
biggest fan of in the office of Sex and the City?
Cool, Greg.
Kevin Coelho.
Really?
Yeah. I've seen every episode multiple times.
That
Not a bad show, man.
He's in.
I'm not gonna lie to
He's
you.
all in.
Not a bad show.
Greg,
If I'm lying, I'm not. Yeah.
you're a big Monopoly fan.
You know it. You brought me Monopoly for Extra Life.
I
Ghostbusters
did.
Monopoly.
I love it.
can't
I
wait.
remembered it. I saw it. I was like, we're going to buy this for Greg on the company dime.
Thanks,
but then
buddy.
I tried to pass it off like I bought it for you, and then you called me out on it.
I was making sure you weren't spending your money on it. you know?
What? Name some of the defining characteristics of the Monopoly Man.
Oh, the Monopoly Man. Mustache, top hat, cane, black coat with the tails. He's got pinstripe pants a lot of times. I mean, he's bald when he takes off the hat, but that's like when he's like doing this kind of shit,
Okay.
like a beauty pageant. When he goes to jail, he wears the black and white striped things.
Does he?
Full blown racist.
Yeah. Super anti-Semite.
Yeah.
Does he wear a monocle?
He does not.
Oh, good. You know your Monopoly.
I've been around today. You're
That's
thinking
why.
of Mr. Peanut.
Mr. Peanut does wear
He wears a monocle. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
fact.
Okay. That makes sense. Another one was Interview with the Vampire. It's not.
Sure.
It's not Interview with a Vampire. It's Interview. There's a lot of those where it's like some of those are like, oh, this. Everyone thought Febreze was spelled this way. I was like, nobody cares how Febreze is spelled. Nobody cares.
Febreze. That's a good one. Febreze.
No, it's one e in the middle.
Oh, really?
That too. Yeah, that's
yeah,
another
that's
one.
dumb though. Fuck you for
Hey, whoa.
Fix your
Febreze
sense.
helps out a lot, man.
Yeah, but it also doesn't. It just covers up lies.
Sure.
Tim, here's one for you, for all the Pokemon fans out there.
Okay.
What color or colors is Pikachu's tail?
Oh, you got this guy. Get dead to rights. All his credibility going out the window.
Yellow and brown.
All yellow. People think he's got a black tip on his tail. There is no black
Is
tip.
that his ears have black tips, right? Mm-hmm. We're getting a Pikachu up here.
No, look.
That's a
Yellow and
shadow.
brown.
That's a shadow.
The tip.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the tip. A lot of people think he has a black tip on the tail.
Like
He has
the
no black
ears?
tip. It's just
no.
yellow.
No.
Well, the brown is just a shadow.
no, it's not.
No,
Oh, that's
actually,
a poop stain. That
it's
looks like a
yellow
poop
and
stain.
brown,
Oh,
dude.
Jesus.
Like, look at the Pikachu on the top right.
No. You're right about the brown. I'm talking
Okay,
about a lot of
okay.
people think he has a black tip at the edge, like that one down there, but that's not. It's
I like
go,
these- oh.
Go to the second one in the middle row.
The Homer Simpson?
the Homer Simpson one. That's fucking amazing. Homer Simpson's one of the best characters ever created. All right, this is a fun one. Do you guys remember the 90s movie about a genie starring Sinbad?
No.
There was no 90s movie.
Yeah,
with
so
Sinbad.
this one's good.
Yeah.
Because this one set the world ablaze.
Yeah, that's a good
The
one. So,
Kazam versus.
Shazam.
Sinbad.
Just
Sinbad
Sinbad.
just being.
But everyone remembers it as a movie starring him called
Shazam, yeah.
Which is not right.
So the way this one read, if you're not even halfway through the list and suffered a mental effect, add this one to your list. Many believe the comedian Sinbad was in a 1990s movie called Shazam, where he played a genie. Sinbad himself said he never played that character. The movie also never existed. Apparently, people confuse that with Shaq, who played a genie in the movie Kazam in 1996. But that's a weird one because I could have sworn I was like, he was totally in a movie like that.
At the same time, was there a pirate Sinbad movie? Yes. I don't know if it was like launched at the same time. People just crossed them up.
There's a Sinbad ride at Tokyo Disney that I'm going to go on next week.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. Really excited about it.
If you survive the monkeys?
If I survive the monkey forest, we'll have to see.
Now, this next one blew my mind. I've had a box of this.
Every single one of these.
These have all blown your mind.
I've had boxes of this cereal. I probably ate a box of this once a week growing up till I was arguably 25 years old.
Okay.
And I never noticed how they spelled Fruit Loops. There's no U and I in it. It's all O's.
Oh.
Did you know this? Because that's what it looks like. Right
I never
there.
paid attention.
F-O-O-T-L-O-O-P-S.
Got a box at home.
That blows my mind. Now, Tim, you might be thinking, Nick, that's crazy. Do you have any other ones like that? And
Were you thinking that, Tim?
This next question
was
directed toward you.
Fruit Loops, blue, purple, color red, yellow, white, new, unicorn, giant, Mandela effect. Those are search for terms.
This next one I did not know. Okay, you're a big fan of Space Jam, right? Who were the characters? What were they from in Space Jam?
Monster Squad?
Looney Tunes.
Looney Tunes.
Oh, yeah, Looney Tunes. Yeah.
Did you know that it's not Toons? It's Tunes?
Yes.
I had no idea. That makes no sense to me.
They sang a lot, didn't they?
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No? Is that not a
the
thing?
original Looney Tunes, yeah, because you had like Bugs Bunny at the opera and they did those things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it had good music as it started.
Okay.
Also really
There you
racist.
go right there. Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
I thought it was Toons because that makes sense because it's
Cartoons.
a cartoon and it's kind of
Yeah.
loony.
Now here's a question.
Sure.
What's Tiny Toons? Cool.
Great question.
Can you Google that?
It's
'Cause
gotta be.
I feel like it's different.
The tiny, the
No, it's
teeny,
the same.
they're all a little loony.
No.
See, this is the problem.
Video
Maybe
TV.
that's where I got it from. The Tiny Toon Adventures they were like, yeah, this makes more sense.
What, Tiny Toons, what a fucking show.
What a
You know what I
so
mean?
good.
fucking show. The
you
movie
fucking
was
kidding
so
me?
good.
Never saw the movie.
There's a movie?
It was like a 3-episode
Oh, okay,
arc
okay,
that like
okay.
is also a movie, but man, it was freaking amazing.
I just remember Ducky. Like everything went down the hole.
Yeah, water go down the hole. Yeah, of course.
So funny.
What was Hamlet? Was that the pig?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was Max? The one humanoid who was always
Yeah.
a bad guy, Max something or other?
And there was the girl too.
Oh, Elma. Right, and she like fucking.
Always trying to
Was
keep
she
that.
Elmer Fudd's kid?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Next question.
All right, sorry. Back to it.
I'm going to go around the table. I want everyone to say,
Clear your minds.
clear your minds.
Clear your
What is
minds,
your
everybody.
favorite peanut butter? Tim, go.
Favorite peanut butter?
Yeah.
Don't overthink it.
I don't know. Chunky.
Brand of peanut
Brand.
butter.
Yeah, I don't know.
Go.
So I'll go Skippies.
Jif.
Oh, you got it. A lot of people think it's Jiffy because they combine Jif and Skippy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I never heard that,
Evidently.
but I could see it. I've just never heard
It was
it.
even in a Simpsons episode where they put Jiffy in there, and that's probably where people get it from.
Sure.
I don't know if they did that on purpose or not.
Oh yeah, I would think it's Jiffy.
Yeah.
I blanked.
Jiffy
I
Pop.
couldn't even
Jiffy
name
Pop's a thing too.
There's a lot of other ones like this, like for, the line, if you build it, he will come. I always thought it was they will come, but it's if you build it, he will come, which makes no sense. Because
Wait,
they all
his
end up
dad's gonna
coming.
It means his dad.
Yeah, but
He
there's
was
a
getting
bunch of
his
people
dad.
that come to play, and then I always thought if
thought
you
it was
build
they.
it, a bunch
They
of
will
people
come.
will come to
Yeah, but
support
you have
the
at the
farm and
very
watch
end the
this.
guy going like, if you build it, he will come, and he's like pointing at his dad.
this heaven?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I remember. I remember that.
It's Iowa.
Next one
Who
that was a
plays the
little bit
dad? The
weird.
dad's somebody famous. Eric Bana? Is that right?
I thought it was like Ray Liotta or some shit like that.
It might have been Ray Liotta actually too.
but it could be
Ray
wrong.
Liotta plays Shoeless Joe.
Oh, that's who it was. I don't know who the dad was. It was some unknown.
Correct.
I think it was Eric Bana now.
This one,
Joey, give me a follow on that
was
one,
a
Joe.
weird one. It's
Thanks,
never been
Joe.
called daylight savings time. It is
Thanks.
just daylight saving time.
Save.
Wait, so it's S or no S?
Daylight
Savings?
saving time. No S.
Saving time.
Saving
Yeah.
time.
Oh, that's fucked
I would
up.
always
I
say
would say
daylight
daylight
me
savings
too,
time.
me too. Do you know that
Moving
you don't say roof? You say roof?
You just can't say that word.
I don't know
you
how to
fucking
say roof.
monster.
You're not helping things. I don't know.
A couple more, then we'll round this topic out. This has been very enjoyable. Thank you for your patience
I
out
want
there.
more.
Is it cup o noodles or cup noodles?
It's just cup noodles.
That did fucking freak me out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When I
this
went to
one-
Japan and I went on the tour of the factory and made the thing, I was like, wait, what the fuck?
Now, fun fact about this one: it's both. because in 1993 they changed it from cup o noodles to cup noodles. So this doesn't belong on the list, but I just wanted to correct that and recommend that they put the NSYNC one on the list because that one blew my fucking mind.
No one is fucking mind blown by that.
Everyone is.
All right.
No.
Everybody.
This next one's crazy, Greg.
All right.
This one's for you.
Okay.
You can't see the picture.
I'm not looking. I'm looking right at the camera.
When they put double the filling in Oreo, what is it called?
Double stuff.
How do you spell stuff?
STUF.
Wow. You really know your shit.
Now, okay, I ran a show called Oreoration. I had to fucking spell check everything I
would
put up.
have thought it was for sure double stuffed, and if you said stuff, it's one F.
How do you spell the cream they put in it?
The cream?
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't look!
I have no idea.
CREME.
Really?
Yeah, because it's not
French.
Cream.
That's the French.
No, it's because it's not cream. It's fucking toothpaste out of a tube.
There was another one that was interesting here.
It's dead.
Tim, you're a big Disney fan. I don't know if you like the classics or not, but apparently the witch in Snow White never said "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all." She said
the stepmom, right?
Stepmom. Yeah, that's right. That's what it is. She said "Magic mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all," and we all just thought it was "Mirror, mirror on the wall."
It's like the Simpsons or whatever when a show takes it and then they change it and then everyone uses that show.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of these as well.
Nick, I'm gonna put you on the spot here.
Here we go.
I'm having fun with this topic.
Fucking nail him to the wall, Tim.
Can you
Get him.
just Google facts that will blow your mind?
Sure. Before I do that, though, I have two more on this
there's
list.
more. Oh,
there's a
okay.
couple more on this list, and then we'll go. The one that was actually very interesting to me was in Risky Business when he slides in singing.
He's fully clothed with pants.
No, he has not. He, for whatever reason,
His dick is swinging around very visibly.
he doesn't have pants, but because I think some shows over the years have emulated this, I always thought he had a white shirt on with sunglasses.
No.
He had a pink shirt on, no sunglasses. That was it.
Oh,
And
no
socks.
sunglasses?
No sunglasses. Evidently, I have.
I'll give you the pink shirt.
Well, when he's he eventually puts them on though, right?
When he gets the broom or something, right?
He wears them on the
Because I
cover.
thought when he falls down into the thing and like kicks his feet. Cool, Greg, I need you to go to YouTube, pull up Risky Business dance scene.
I'll Google I'll send you the link right now, Cool Greg. Do you want me to send it to Control?
You think you saying Cool Greg can't do this on his own, man? Come on.
I
man.
have the link for him. I don't. Why bother?
Dwyer
I put the links in here.
Brown played the dad.
Here we go.
No shit, really. No one knows who the fuck Dwyer Brown is.
No.
That's the stupidest name I've ever heard.
Don't play the audio.
Yeah,
though.
don't play the audio and don't show the kids, but we're just
Yeah.
gonna see because he's
Although
pouring a fucking tall ass glass.
I forgot about
glass of Chivas
whiskey. Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
then
And
a little
Coke.
bit
That's a good
All right,
product placement right there.
we skip
Well,
a
we're
little
just
bit.
having fun here.
Well, no, but we're just narrating a fucking Tom Cruise scene.
He's so young.
Here we go. So yeah, and you're ding 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 ding.
It is a pink shirt.
Yeah, I knew that
There's
part.
no
That part I got,
sunglasses.
but I could have sworn
Sunglasses.
sunglasses. I thought when
They
he,
really liked Tom Cruise's legs in these movies, by the way. There's
who
so many
doesn't? Look
movies.
at him right
Those are
now.
good
These
little
supple
legs,
ass
dude.
legs. You know what I
He
mean?
was fucking taut.
Supple's a good word.
It is good.
Taut. Tim, when is the last time you watched Risky Business?
Never.
I don't think Tim's. Oh, this movie's great.
I've only seen
There
references.
is one of the hottest.
I was
sex
gonna say,
scenes
are you aware of how
ever
much
made.
fucking there is?
No.
Full blown 1983 fucking tits out, like just.
Do you know the concept behind
Yeah.
Risky Business, Tim?
No, man.
Let me explain to you.
This is selling me.
This is why I love the 80s, because this movie was legit just marketed to normal people. A kid, his parents go out of town. He's trying to get into Harvard. He sucks. He's not going to get into Harvard, right? He knows it, but he's still trying to be what his parents want him to be.
Damn,
they go
no
out of town,
sunglasses.
and he thinks to himself, somehow, he's like, I'm going to get a prostitute, because I've never had sex before. And he orders one, and the first one that shows up, not what he wanted. And the second one that shows up is Rebecca De Mornay, and she is insanely good looking in this movie. And he takes her out, and they have this amazing sex scene where they have sex on the subway.
That's
in
not even
Chicago.
the first time they have
That's
sex.
later.
They have
And there
sex
was an
in the
arrow
house,
on
and
the
it's like
subway. It's
while
crazy.
they're fucking, the doors open up and like the wind blows
God,
in,
it's
and
so hot.
She's just like fucking naked, and like, how do I know all this? Because fucking, it's free on Alaska Airlines, and yeah,
Yeah.
I'll watch this fucking
not watch that
porno
movie.
on the airplane, just watching this shit, like people surrounding me.
But the base concept for the movie is that she steals all his shit to pay back her pimp. And then they kind of fall in love, and she's like, I'm sorry. And he's like, well, you got to help me out because my parents, you stole all our shit. So like, my parents are going to go home. They're going to freak out. Meanwhile, he's supposed to go out to Harvard Law or whatever. And this guy's going to come for an interview. He's freaking out. And then he's like, he gets a bright
do you
idea. He's
make
like,
money?
all of my friends are virgins and all your friends are prostitutes. What if we combine these, throw a party, and I'll get enough money to pay back the pimp to get all my stuff back.
Turn
and that's
his
Risky
house
Business.
into a brothel.
Into a brothel. Meanwhile, do you want me to spoil this for you?
Yeah, dude.
The Harvard guy comes to interview him, and Joel, who is the character, Tom Cruise's character, basically is like, fuck it, I'm not going to Harvard. Listen, man, sometimes you just gotta, he literally says, sometimes you just gotta say, fuck it, and he goes, have fun. And the Harvard guy's like, what the fuck? What happened? But meanwhile, there's hot girls all over the place. And then, of course, He ends up getting all of the furniture back, pays it back just in the nick of time as the parents come in. And then the mom's like, "Jeff, something to tell me?" Yada, yada, yada. And he's like, "What?" And then it turns out something was correct. That was wrong. And the dad goes, "Hey, man, I just want to say congratulations." And he's like, "What happened?" And he goes, "Harvard could use a guy like you," was his exact words when he came here. "Harvard could use a guy like you." So we got the guy laid and got it to Harvard. I think it was Harvard or Yale. It might have been Yale.
And then Rodney Dangerfield showed up and goes, "Let's dance."
Also, Booger was in it from the Revenge of the Nerds.
Also, fucking from Perfect Strangers, Balky was in it.
Balky was. Bronson Pinchot was in it, yeah.
Now, more importantly, Tim, did any of this sound familiar to you? Because do you remember the movie The Girl Next Door?
Never saw it.
Which was literally a beat-for-beat rip-off of this flick.
Great movie.
Great movie.
Yeah. Timothy Oliphant is
Yeah.
a great bad guy.
Hirsch.
Eliza Cuthbert is in it.
Oh, yeah, and she was eyeing 24. She was riding that wave right there.
Kim Bauer.
Yeah, exactly.
Last, but certainly not least on this list, let me go back to
I was just enjoying talking about risky
is
business.
probably the most egregious offense of them all. And this is a
They
common
don't make
misconception.
sex scenes like that anymore. in
They
movies,
don't,
you know what I
man. But
mean?
remember when they were like, they were waiting for the bum to leave, or the homeless guy to leave the subway?
Yeah, oh, yeah,
And they kept
yeah,
looking,
yeah.
they kept looking at them like, "You gonna fuck?" And they're like, "Come on, dude, we're gonna fuck." And then
Yeah.
he leaves, and then they just
Yeah, totally.
and the lighting changes in the subway for some reason. They're like,
That's because
weird.
they're
It
like
comes
they're
in red.
stylized sex scenes. You know what I mean?
oh, that was what? Didn't he like fuck his dad's Porsche up too, or something?
I don't remember that
The
part.
dad's
but
Porsche ends up
probably.
going into the thing.
Again, to give you
Thinking about Ferris Bueller.
Exactly.
No. There
Mandela
was,
effect.
his dad had a dope ass like Porsche 928.
to give you a heads up of how it goes when I did this, it was like I was sitting there playing a game or whatever on one of my flights, and I looked over and somebody else was watching Risky Business, and they were about to get to the sex scene, and then it's that thing where you're watching through the crack somebody
Yeah.
else's thing,
And you're like, "It's
this
okay
is
if
turning
I'm-"
me on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I got on the next flight, and I was like, I want to have that experience and pay it forward, as they say, but backwards, so somebody else behind me
Yeah.
sees me watching this
Oh,
porno.
yeah.
And so then I started it, and then I was like, man, this movie takes a long time. Just scrub. There's the sex.
Just like I do
scrub,
with-
scrub.
Yep. It was hot sex too.
It was.
Are you
Good looking up.
about to say, just like I do with Thor Ragnarok
I was.
when I get to the fucking
was.
end fight?
I do it.
Yes.
I do it almost every time it's
It's,
available.
why not?
Just
it's
end,
there.
I just like to
Now-
start and end every air trip with that.
As you all know, I like to bring controversial topics, and we're still in your topic. We'll get to the rest
Okay.
of them. I like
'Cause
to
I
bring
have one more left on this
controversial-
list that I wanna
like
get
to bring controversial topics to this table.
Yeah.
Poe,
Here we
would
go.
you like to talk about Thor Ragnarok?
Terrible movie. I love those two characters.
You
and
clearly
then
do a lot of drugs. It's not your fault.
watching this, I'm like, what? Like, I guess if they could get it off like the garbage dump island that it's taking place in, maybe I'd like it a little bit more.
Let me ask you this question, Poe. Did you like the other two Thors that came before this?
I like the first Thor. I thought that was fine, and I mean, I definitely put Thor the second one above what is it, Ragnarok? Or I don't even know how to say the word of this thing.
Wow, that's an unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
I
have a lot of them.
He dropped this shit on me the other day in the house, and I was like, I can't. I don't know how to process
no.
this
So a
information.
list over here just scares me. I don't know what's going on. It's like rank number 2.
well,
That
great
was-
movie.
good list. Good list.
That was a good list. Last but certainly not least on my list, very common misconception about this movie. This is the last one that rounds this out. The Departed is in fact a fucking terrible movie. Just throwing that out there.
Oh,
The
yeah?
Departed is a bad
Oh, yeah,
movie.
yeah.
A
Was
lot
that
of people
on
think
the
it's
list?
good. A lot of people think it's good. It's weird. It's on every list. It's like, this is actually a pretty good movie. It's not.
So, Poe, the
kinda
problem
hard.
here,
It's
of
kinda
course,
garbage.
is that Alec Baldwin
That's right.
is sweaty and
I
bumps
waited a
into
long
things.
time for that joke, everyone. The long con is on.
That was good. That was fucking good.
Alec Baldwin sweaty during this thing.
Yeah, Nick has this bad running gag here of not liking The Departed, and his number one problem being that Alec Baldwin is in fact sweaty and bumps into things.
Bumping into shit the entire time. It was big Alec Baldwin, not small, moderately big.
I could
Alec
give you
Baldwin.
bad accents. You know, you want to throw that in there.
My issue with The Departed is threefold. One, Alec Baldwin, as we've already covered. Two, tonally, the movie doesn't know if it wants to be a sincerely intense Scorsese film or a dumb comedy about how people on the East Coast can't speak English good. Three, he should have got the Academy Award for The Wolf of Wall Street, not The Departed.
I want everybody at home, every sinsingle person,
Nick, there's a lot more show to
to
do. I need you to
rewind
come
the
back.
show and just look at the consistency in which Nick used his fingers to count to 3. Because he started off 1. Then eventually when he went to 2, he brought one down, but then he brought the other one back.
He's in that danger zone of like getting it down to just being the middle
Yeah,
finger.
You know
you know?
what? I'm thinking about Rebecca De Mornay and Tom Cruise just getting it on.
And I'm just saying, like, it was wrong.
Oh, it was fucking
the
nasty.
last
They
time,
fuck standing up. That was the first time I realized you could fuck standing up. I was like, think you could fuck standing up? He's like, from behind, and she had a pole in front of her, and it was a subway, and the bum was kind of looking at him, like, we're gonna fuck anyway. And it was like, fire.
That sound is right.
It was sexy.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think, and I don't see as
Let's
many
watch
movies.
that scene right
I don't
now.
see as many movies as you guys. But like,
You see way more movies than all of us.
no, that's
You just play
more
game-
than you.
You watch a movie
You
at
watched
night while you're playing.
Ghostbusters 2 and 2 terrible alien films over the weekend.
Classics.
I watched 15 seconds of the new Purge and fell asleep.
Yeah, classics.
And
Classics.
Manifest.
Manifest TV show.
Yeah,
Oh
TV
my
show.
God, actually. I wanted to come on the morning show. Thank you, Poe. Put a pin in that real quick. I'm just saying, the sex scenes I see these days aren't as graphic. You think about what you're seeing in a traditional 80s movie, right?
A lot of smoke for no reason.
Fuck, yeah. Fuck. Well, I mean, it's hot,
Always.
right? You think about fucking Roadhouse, these people fucking. And then
Also fucking standing up.
of course, yeah, as you had to.
It's just defied
The 80s
logic
was
for
just
Nick.
about
You
standing
wouldn't
up
in
and
the
fucking-
80s, we were never sure if the Russians were marching down Main Street. You know what I mean? You
Gotta
had
be
to be
ready to
ready at
go.
a
Had to be
moment's
ready, man.
notice to
Keep your
defend the
gun
country.
by your side and your woman in front of you.
But you go from there, right? And it's like what? I think of hot sex in movies, right? I think the two ones that stand out for me, and I'm failing at the first one. Help me out. I love it so much.
Go for it. Go with it. Give me
Diane
something.
Lane and Richard Gere, and she's cheating on him.
Oh, not affair.
Oh, yeah.
You sure it's not the affair?
No,
And it's not the affair. Unfaithful.
Unfaithful.
Unfaithful. Man.
Was that you and me who walked into the
Yes.
theater?
So hold
Oh,
on. There's a great Poe and Greg story. We are. I think we were underage. They're too young to go see Unfaithful. But we were at the movies. We went and saw one movie that we were talking about yesterday. There was our group of guys and then the group of girls, right? We went to the theater together, and then everybody was like, well, I don't want to see that movie. They want to see some movie we don't see. We wanted to see some other movie. Our movie finished with like 30 minutes left.
And this is when they jacked the price up, and we decided double feature.
Yeah, of course. We're like, well, we're
Natch.
gonna go. We'll go see something else
Natch.
and figure out what's gonna happen. And so what it was playing in the other theater was Unfaithful. And at this point, nobody knew how fucking hot this
those
is gonna
scenes,
be,
man.
right? But the trailers gave it. Oh, it's a murder mystery involving some sex. All right, cool. You know what I mean? It's got it's got Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle in it. Can't wait to see this flick.
Natch.
And so what we did is Poe and I walked into the theater, and it's one of those, it's a theater. You come around the corner, and then you got to walk into the theater. And so we came around the corner and walked in, and it was as bright on the screen as staring into the sun. Because they were fucking in the hallway, and the sunlight was there, and it was just him with her bent over a radiator fucking. And Poe and I walk in, all of like 15 or 16. We walk in and turn to look for seats, and everyone in the theater looks at us like, why are these two kids here so late in this film when these people are
Do
already
you know when they
fucking?
turn the house lights on at a concert and you can see everyone? That's what we looked back and you could see everyone's face looking right at us.
Oh my God,
Because it was like
that's
a
so
white
embarrassing.
background too that just shined on all of us.
Did
Like-
some of you just looked at them all and then slowly
Oh,
put
yeah.
your hand down your pants?
No, we did the slow Homer Simpson back out of the thing. And then,
that? Was it
if
Vincent
memory
Gallo?
serves, that's the same trip then where, all right, we couldn't get in Unfaithful. That was a misfire. Well, we don't want to go see any of these other movies as a double feature. So my grand plan, right, was that I opened the door to the girls' theater and yelled Rachel at the top of my lungs.
Correct.
And now I'm not as loud as I am now. This is a pre-Antler Greg Miller, but I was still pretty loud. So imagine, just for shits and giggles, you're just sitting there enjoying some movie and you hear someone scream a name at the top of their lungs from the back of a theater.
Yeah.
That's what we did for fun back then. You know what I
Which
mean?
probably
Guys
had
used to do.
more than one Rachel in there.
Sure. I'm sure there were a lot of Rachels that day. Very scared.
A lot of Rachels that day.
You know what I mean? We put the fear of God into a lot of Rachels, except for our Rachel, who was like, these fucking idiots.
Fuck these guys.
I hate these people. Why do we hang out with these prank war people?
Sorry, this is
Go ahead, what do you got?
Good at all, but it just blew my mind. The guy from Unfaithful that she ends up having sex with, Oliver Martinez,
Yeah.
was the bad guy in SWAT. I
Isn't
give
he
you
al-
$5 million.
Give me his whole IMDb, because I've never gone. He's been in a bunch of stuff now.
He's
Is
been in a
he
bunch of
not this? No, he's not. He's not the dude from
He was in a movie called Cybergeddon.
Westworld, right? Who's the
No.
dude from Westworld? Who's the
That
cowboy?
guy's great.
Who then
Fucking
turns out
looking.
he's the guy who
Jesus, that guy's got
in Love
abs.
Actually
Is the guy that's
is the nerd with
Yeah.
the other girl.
Laura Linney.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he like
That was
almost
great.
has sex with Laura
That's
Linney, and
sad.
he bounces out of there.
But
You
she
know what I
decides
mean?
to take care of her brother instead, proving
Yeah.
that family is more important than your vagina. It's the worst.
I mean, yeah, I'll agree with. Yeah,
the
you know, I
worst.
didn't know where we were going on that one. I do agree with it. Second hot movie of like recent era, because again, I just don't think there's that many, and I
Black Swan.
never saw it.
Oh,
I want to be
son of
proven
a
wrong.
bitch.
I was gonna go Watchmen.
Oh
When
God.
Owlman fucks
Malin Ackerman.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's her name?
Malin
Scarlet.
Ackerman.
No. Silk Spectre in the owl thing. I was like, that's a hot scene.
I thought it was ruined. Or the Hallelujah?
Dude, everybody shits on Watchmen. Watchmen, good.
I love Watchmen.
Okay.
I fucking love it.
I'm bringing down my sword. I'm bringing down my sword.
The sex scene.
No.
Yeah, because it made it funny.
No,
it was
for
sexy.
you. For you, when you were seeing it, you were so young. You were a kid. You didn't understand. I was sitting there being like, "This is good juxtaposition." You know what I mean?
Hallelujah.
Right.
Versus them fucking.
Yeah. Why not, man? How many times have you come and said Hallelujah?
None.
Oh well, you need fucking churches more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I guess
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
true.
Right there.
Manifest.
Manifest. Have you heard of this show?
Manifest? No.
This is the one I saw on a bus at Comic-Con. We were at Comic-Con. It's the one of like this
So
plane.
not the Rookie.
Man, I gotta watch the Rookie though.
Is that whatever happened with it? Is the Rookie still a show? It's on
Dude,
TV?
yeah, no, I seen
gotta be
commercials
gone.
for it during The Bachelor, which says a lot.
Yeah,
about
well,
where it's
You know
at.
what else though? And I am gonna eat my words on this because I was like, they made Lethal Weapon into a TV show, and I was like, no way I'm watching this show. No way I am watching this show. And as you guys know, there was some controversy because the guy that was playing Riggs was kind of an asshole on set and very abusive. So the producers in some weird move were like, show's going well, we got to kick this motherfucker out because he's super abusive. We'll get in Sean William Scott. And then I saw a trailer for Damon Wayans and Sean William Scott, and I was like,
Stifler.
I kind of want to see the show now.
Yeah.
I think it's Damon Wayans. It might be one of the Wayans kids.
So we're watching or Manifest. If you missed the bus at Comic-Con, the pitch is this, Tim. A plane takes off.
Hold on. One question.
Yeah.
Is this Maggie from The Walking Dead show?
No.
Okay.
We watched the pilot last night.
Didn't
I
see
wouldn't put it past that now they've brought her on the show or something for it. Joey, do you have any confirmation on that?
What?
No. Okay.
Laura Cohen.
You're looking
Laura
at IMDb and something else.
Yeah, Lauren Cohen, I think. Is her
Lauren
name.
Cohen.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Can you look
hard.
into that for me, Nick? With your
Lauren
eye?
Cohen, got
Yeah. The plane takes off. From where were they going from? Like New York, maybe, or something?
No, they
Were
were
they going
like-
to New York? Oh, they're coming from like some island.
She was in a
Bahamas
show
or
called The Walking Dead.
Oh my God, Nick! Please scroll down.
You guys fucking.
No, this isn't the show with the.
She played Martha in the seminal film
course, how could you forget?
Batman v Superman.
She's the Martha. She's what started it all. The plane takes off from the islands. It's coming back to the United States. Gets turbulence in the sky. When it lands, 6 years. 6 years have gone by.
5, 6.
They were taken off from in 2013. They land in 2018. Whatever. So yeah, 5. I guess. And so like it's just the story of these people coming back after this thing in this gap. And from the get-go, Tim, I'm in. We watched last. I mean, I liked it as a bus. But to see it on the screen yesterday, you know what I mean? Is the acting great? No, it's a pilot. They're gonna feel these
Put it
characters
on
out.
the back of the box. I liked it as a bus.
I meant to tweet this. I forgot last night. I got it. I'm telling you right now. There's been a hole in my heart since I stopped watching Nashville. This Manifest show is going to fill it. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's bold because that was probably your favorite all-time television show.
It was definitely up there. You know what I mean?
Remember when
Rest in
we
peace.
became friends for the first
All-time?
time? We were watching that show, and I was like, "You watch Nashville
Greg
too?
Miller.
We should be friends."
No, not all time, but it was a great show. But this Manifest show, science fiction. It's got the heart. You know, it's pulling at the heartstrings in there because again, you know, they tell you as they're chilling out in they're setting up the plot lines as they're sitting there in the airport, right? Of like arguments with your mom, this family of 4, 2 of them stay behind for the vouchers, 2 of them take off on the plane or whatever. So then they get there, all these years have jumped. You got a kid that was sick or is sick. You got the parents have died. Relationships are ending. And then here's where it gets interesting. And I don't know if I needed it necessarily, but I'm interested to see where they take it. They got superpowers from this thing somehow. So like these people are getting like there's like hearing
Powers manifested.
they're hearing voices. Oh fucking shit.
Wow.
We didn't even think of that. Oh my God. I thought it was a manifest like a plane, but the powers manifest.
Double
Fucking
entendre.
shit. Are you
Double
in the
meaning.
business? Are you? Am I sitting here with David S. Goyer right now? I didn't know. Fuck me.
Why am I looking at Lauren Cohen's IMDb
That we want.
page?
Don't worry. We
She
want to
already
know.
answered the
We want to know if
question.
she was on Manifest. Yeah.
No.
But give the pitch that you thought that
She sure isn't, Greg.
that they went into the studios and being
Oh,
like,
totally. They went in and were like, hey, guys, you remember Lost and Heroes? We're going to take parts of those shows, put them together here, and make a new show. And everyone's like,
sounds
fuck yeah, sounds great.
absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Here's the thing
Science
about
fiction.
No. Here's the thing
Guess
about
what, everybody? Every jacking off to Black Mirror. We got our own finally in the United States, and it's
Here's-
called Manifest.
All right, here's
Is
the
the CG terrible
Black
at the
Mirror?
end? Yeah. You never watched Black
Stop
Mirror?
talking.
Oh, really?
Nah, no
Netflix.
idea.
You got to watch Black Mirror.
okay. You guys did a ringing endorsement with that.
Well, I was joking around. I'm kind of in my character.
Heroes and Lost
Yeah.
are like really good sex that about halfway through you just go limp for. You know,
Fuck,
and you're
Jesus.
just slamming it against the side,
my
and it's not
God.
fun for either party.
No.
neither of those shows finished well.
That's why I'm saying
And
they're
they
like,
were
let's
terrible.
take two strong parts
Yeah, Tim.
from two mediocre shows.
I can't relate. I can't imagine anyone relating to just.
It's really
it
good
being
sex.
lit. It's really good.
You've never
sex.
had a lot
You
of
go
Jack
lit and
Daniels
start
before in your life.
slamming it against the side.
You're so you don't realize that,
Why am I the side?
because I
And why
can't
does
hit.
it have so much like force?
Well, there's still a lot of flesh there.
I'll get in there. Nick's hoping to jumpstart. We've all
yeah.
been there. It's like with a car story with Kevin Coelho, right? Of pushing the car down the mountain, get it going.
If I can't make it feel good, let's try the opposite side of the spectrum. Let's make it feel bad. You know? If you hurt
It
maybe
won't
it'll come to
respond
life.
to pleasure. Will it respond to pain?
Like if the tiger's sleeping,
Yeah.
punch it. You know, see if it comes up.
That's what I've heard.
You don't
That's
punch
the
sleepy
safety tips
tiger.
for tigers.
I can't believe you're shitting on Manifest. You haven't even given it a shot yet. All right.
You know I'll watch it 6 years from now when no one cares about it anymore.
You won't watch
And
it.
I'll be like, this is the best thing. Started watching the Great British Baking Show 18 years after it started going. And then, hot take, I don't like Mary Berry as much as the new host. I don't give a fuck what anyone says.
Joey's the only one who understands that reference. Do you watch
Amy
the
would
British
also be
Bake Off?
very-
I got nothing. British Bake Off.
I don't know what
Her
it
name's
is.
actually Mary Berry, though.
Yeah, she got you on
Mary
this one.
Space Berry.
Yeah.
Full name.
Her full name as a baker. And apparently England's grandmother is Mary Berry.
How old is she?
She's 84 years old.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. She's adorable.
Yeah.
But doesn't really add too much to the show these days. And I feel like she's overshadowed by Paul Hollywood, who I feel like is a little bit of a bully, if I'm being honest.
I don't feel like that's something anybody disputes.
So I feel like they need to put someone next to him that can take him on, like a Padma Lakshmi.
She puts him in his place.
A couple of weeks ago, we talked about a show with Andy called Naked Attraction.
Yeah.
I've
What the
now
fuck is
watched
that?
2 full episodes of this show. It might be the most trash TV.
What
I
is
have
this?
How can you
ever-
get? Oh, you were
they're
on the
naked
you were
when-
on the thing.
you
Like
missed
naked on
it.
an island.
Yo, listeners, I'm sorry. You've already heard this. I'll try to make it
but
quicker.
Spoilers, Tim. We repeat ourselves all the time
I
on this
understand.
podcast.
I understand.
What just fell from the ceiling?
There's a bunch of people here. There's a bunch of people here that do not know about Naked Attraction. Naked Attraction is another England show. In the same vein as the Great British Bake Off.
Oh, there's a 95-year. Okay.
It's a show where people go in and they're all in these like weird test tube things. Like, do you remember
Plexiglass like boxes
in like
basically.
Empire Strikes Back when Luke's just in the thing when he's like being
Wow.
fixed in the very beginning?
Oh, okay, sure, yeah.
That
The
type
thing
of
was vague.
That's like imagine
You're talking about
Power
similar to
Rangers,
how
Zordon.
Superboy Con-El was in the cloning chamber, right?
Exactly.
I got it.
So there's these tubes with different levels of blockage that come down, like little doors.
Mm-hmm,
And it starts off, and there's like a group of people standing, and then the doors are all there, and then it's just like, let's see it. And the doors go up a third of the way, like genitals down, and people are just naked.
and then it's a
And
close up
it's just
on dick and vag.
close-ups.
Blurred.
Nope.
Nope.
What is this show on?
What? BBC 7 or whatever.
Literally in between episodes of Great British Bake Off. I'm not making it up.
Yeah, they don't care.
Like
They don't
it's
care.
just
The
we're
people in
going
England, they're not ashamed of their bodies like
Yeah.
we are here.
I'll give it to you, man.
Now, turns out they are. The show causing a lot of shit.
Well, the show's causing a lot of shit because it's a hot garbage trash mess. Like
No,
it's not.
causing shit
It's not a
because of
good
the
show.
sexuality. It's causing shit because of
Well, that's
sex-
what I'm saying is if they
So-
figured
All
out a
I
way
know
to
right
present
now
that.
is we're staring at dicks and vages. What's
That's-
going on
and
next?
literally all
literally,
you need
it's
to know.
like it's like, hey,
Are you in or
we
not?
are just judging people based on their bodies.
Oh.
And then somebody stands there and then just says what they like about people and don't like about the
Oh.
others. And then you eliminate them round by round as the thing keeps going up.
Jesus.
And it is fucking
So
intense.
what do you start with?
And man, a lot of these
The
people.
dicks.
are not
No,
good
how many
looking
people?
Like 6, I think, maybe 4.
Yeah, like 6. Yeah, you start with 6 dicks. You whittle it down to 1.
Yeah.
But then there's like all these crazy plots where then you go on a date with the person.
Are you naked when you're on the date?
No,
No.
no. But before the date, you have to get naked in front of them.
Do they have to prove
And
you?
then you approve a date. But there's been a
deeper.
lot of crazy switch ups where it's like the person says no to them, but ends up hooking up with one of the other contestants.
They hook up with them.
Like
So are they on an island? I don't. Are they
no, it's just
Okay.
like after the show.
Oh,
and they'll
the show's
do-
over?
But they'll do like follow ups.
I mean, technically,
but that didn't happen. But
they
they
are on
went
an
on
island.
a date, and then they follow them.
Gotcha,
And their
okay,
date.
okay.
Geography
It's
joke.
fucking crazy.
Good
but
point,
it's
good
every
point.
combination of sexual orientation.
Sure.
So it's just like one episode will be like a dude looking for dudes, and then a dude looking for women, and then a women looking for women, and then like it's just like keeps going, and it is Like, it sounds like something I'd be really into. It's not. It's fucking bad.
All right, my next question from the Peanut Gallery. How are you watching the show? Is this on
Google?
Via the magic of dailymotion.com.
Yeah.
Because they don't give a fuck.
The last bastion of unbreakable.
Come for us,
Unbreakable
FTC.
uploads. They know how that site must be run straight out of Russia.
Yeah.
I don't know how they haven't been taken down yet.
It's ridiculous because you can fucking find anything there,
Yeah.
including the show. And it is.
My point was,
It's
my
unreal.
point is, I don't mind the nudity. It's the fact that they do nothing with it. It is just superficial. Let's show some people naked. That's all it is. If they had other components that made the show fun, it wouldn't take as much slack. But it is just the most base, degrading thing you've ever seen in your entire life.
Which is a fascinating social experiment. There's a
is.
lot of cool things about it. It's just I don't think that the production
No, but it proves that
hits where it needs to.
a lot of movies, obviously spoilers, a lot of mainstream movies, a lot of TV shows are basically just vehicles to show illicit sex scenes and stuff like that. Like that's the big joke about the 80s. Like every 80s movie had full frontal nudity in it for some reason, and you were like, that didn't need that. That was, and they were like, well, we got to have
Well,
keep
you
people's attention.
got to offset the violence somehow.
Yeah, we got all this violence, we have all this humor. Like we clearly need to show like unadulterated full frontal nudity. So what I'm saying is like the shows could have been good and still showed the nudity, but I feel like they just didn't even try to add even the faintest layer of like a superficial like, hey, this is what the show's really about. It's about baking, but they're naked. Now,
Are the people getting money for this just to be on it?
I assume so.
Maybe.
Get their dicks insulted?
I don't know.
Their vages insulted?
I will
On
say this,
Bachelor,
though.
people don't get paid if they're contestants. They only get paid if they're the Bachelor. So maybe not.
I will say I forgot how many people, actually I probably never even really knew how many people were uncircumcised in England.
Oh, yeah. No.
All the dicks uncircumcised. And I was like, huh.
I think it's a big
haven't seen those in
American
a
Gia asked me a really interesting question. She's like, hey, when we have kids, if it's a boy,
You gotta snip it.
we're not going to circumcise it,
you
right?
gotta snip it.
And I was like,
Do it at the hospital.
we are.
Don't let her know.
like,
She'll never know.
Duh,
Jesus.
what the fuck? But then I'm thinking about it. I'm like, just because I am, I just feel like that's normal. But
It's
like,
not.
yeah, it's weird.
I don't know.
It kind of blew my mind, just like the Mandela effect
Yeah,
stuff.
Mandela effect. Yeah.
They often relate the Mandela effect to circumcision.
Yeah.
That's true.
They actually said that Nelson Mandela
right, be
was
careful.
the cause of circumcision.
Okay.
Back in the day.
That could have been worse than I thought it was going to be.
What did you think I was going to go with Nelson Mandela?
I don't know.
You're like, Nick doesn't know who Nelson Mandela is, so let's see where he goes with this.
Sometimes I see you jump out of the space shuttle. I'm like, did he tether himself, or is he just going to drift and drift and
Hey
drift
man,
and be gone?
fucking ground control to Major Tom. You know what I mean?
Ground control to Major Tom.
What are we just talking about?
We're talking about uncircumcised penises. No, he just had a thing too.
Oh, okay.
Is everyone here circumcised?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I am.
Yeah, totally.
And
That's the
why?
thing. My parents are Catholic.
Is that the reason?
Well, I thought it was Jewish. You
I think it's Catholic and Jewish.
oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I was circumcised. I think.
Well, I'm circumcised too, but I don't think it was a religious thing. I think it was just like, hey,
Wasn't it like
Are we gonna have to call our moms?
it was
and
a
ask them
health
right
thing.
now?
Yeah,
the health thing, like that makes sense to me. And like,
Supposedly
also,
that's bullshit, though.
I've seen a lot of them, and especially because of this show. And it's like I prefer the look of the circumcised, but like
They taste
maybe
better.
that's just because it's me. You know what I mean? I fear what's different. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. It's all relative, right? Like if you live in an area that's predominantly uncircumcised, you'd be like, "What the fuck is going on with that turtle head, weirdo?" And of course, we in the United States just look and laugh. So
that's all we do. We don't understand because we're not watching shows
weird.
critique dicks and vages. So
I once saw an episode.
I don't
of,
like saying vag.
I think it's funny. It's a funny word. It's like sandwich. Great word to say. Fun word.
I guess. I guess sandwich is a fun word. I guess it's a weird one to jump to there, but
I watched an episode of Real Sex back in the day. I think it was
Oh, yeah,
Real
hell
Sex,
yeah, you
one of
did.
those shows where you're
Yeah,
like,
HBO.
am I going to be able to, like Real Sex is always hilarious because you're like, am I going to be
Roll
able
the
to
dice.
masturbate to this or is this going to gross me out and I'm going to throw up on my own
roll
pud?
the fucking
Always
on my
roll the
own
dice.
pud.
Nick. I know. I'm sorry, guys. I'm in a weird mood. There was one episode about
we call it
guys
a wake.
trying to legitimately pull their foreskin back
Oh.
because they'd been circumcised and felt like the part of them was missing. So they were like stretching out with like these devices.
That's not real.
It's a real thing.
That's bullshit.
It was a real
Lies.
thing.
Oh, I don't like that one bit.
There was like a thing they put
Now
in their dicks.
here, I'll get us out of here, Tim. Don't worry. The way only.
Why do you
Greg
want to get
Miller
out of here?
can.
Why can't we be in the sex zone for a little bit? Why can't we talk about my level of expertise? Porn and HBO real sex
And not
episodes.
knowing why people are circumcised.
I don't think it's a Catholic thing.
Maybe. I mean, it might
I
have
think
just been a health thing
yeah,
back in the day.
yeah. I think it was that. There was the argument. It was cleaner.
No. Do Catholic circumcised. I'll Google it right now.
All right. Here's what I want to say instead. And Joey, I feel like this is on you.
Because I know the Moyle does it in the
I
Jewish
don't like that
religion, right?
preface.
This is on you. I feel like, even though I'm not 100%
Mike,
sure, right? She's been talking into it all day. I hope it's on. But I mean, I would have put it past us, actually. I would have put it past us. Hey, no, I don't mean you, Cool Greg. I just mean us. Us as a team. How did you not tell me New Girl was done?
Because I don't watch New Girl.
I come in, I watch the morning show every so often. How did this not break news for me? I had to find out by watching Manifest and seeing commercials for the new fucking shows the other guys are on. They got Schmidt and they got the Wayans boy.
Winston?
No, Coach. Remember the
Coach?
Yeah, Coach. Yeah. He's doing one over there too. And so they were like running them back to back. And I'm like, how could they be doing the New Girl? And oh my God, the New Girl's gone. It's over. How did I not know this? I only watched a season and a half.
I was shocked.
I watched a season and a half of New Girl.
I liked the first 3 seasons of New Girl, and then they lost.
How many seasons were there?
I think they had like 5.
Jeez, all right. Then it ran its course. Then I
5 or
apologize.
6.
I thought the problem with New Girl is like Jake Johnson blew up and was like, I'm going to go do awesome movies like Jurassic World.
Was he in Jurassic World?
He sure was. He was in the...
He was in
Tag.
Room.
Remember Tag?
He was in the control room.
I never went and saw
Tag.
Jurassic
He
World.
was so good in Tag.
Everyone was great in Tag.
Have you seen Tag?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dream-
no,
they had a dream
fucking Tag
cast.
was amazing.
It's fucking great.
Yeah.
I'm just going to...
John fucking Hamm. What did we find out about circumcision?
Why am I circumcised?
Perfect. Thank you. Thank
Can't
you.
wait for the Yahoo.
I like why. I like the
answers page.
autofill is why am I circumcised? Why am I not circumcised?
That's the thing. I'll never forget the first time I saw Kevin Stick.
Is he not? Is he
He's
not?
not, and it scared the
Are
fuck
we
out
allowed
of
to
me.
say that?
Sure.
Yeah,
Cool.
we've talked about that before. That's open information. But
That's
yeah,
on
no,
the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, it was weird though. You know, I was just like, "What the fuck?" And he was like, "What the fuck?" We were naked together.
I figured that part out.
Yeah.
Is that a spa? Is that a pool?
We were in like a bathtub. We
Oh,
were
so
like
you're young
4 and
kids.
3.
Young
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
How many times Kevin poop in the bathtub when you're in it with him?
0.
Yeah, I feel like that would
I
always.
did pee in my brother's mouth once.
Hey, Poe, welcome back to the show. That's in the bathtub.
Huh?
That's in the bathtub.
I was in the bathtub. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be funny.
Sure, it was. I mean, we just got a great laugh.
This is the long con. Years later, Kevin's mom got hella mad though.
Sure.
Yeah.
She hit you with a ruler.
I don't want to talk about that. See,
Okay.
that's going too far.
Okay.
It was a spoon.
Yeah. You know, that is definitely information that's been shared on the show before.
Yeah.
My mom used to fuck me up with spoons. I got nothing on the circumcision.
Again,
I got nothing on the circumcision front. Apparently, Catholics are against it now, but I didn't know that.
circumcision.
So it must just have been for health for me. I
For
can
the
call my
Jewish
mom if you
faith.
want.
Catholicism. There was no
Nick.
mandate. That's
Yeah.
what we're
No.
doing. Yeah. okay.
Please call your mom.
But-
I'm not gonna call.
Damn
But yeah,
it.
I think there's a health issue now.
That was the reasoning.
That's
yeah.
what they try and do, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's what we'll go with. Do you?
Does it need like a final answer somewhere? That's,
I'm just
that's
trying to
what
figure out.
we'll
If
go
I don't know. I mean,
You know
I
how
have to
these
call my
shows
mom
go.
on this. I'm going to see her this weekend for my reunion, so I will ask her, and I'll put a pin in this because not the next show, but whenever the next show is that's before this show, which will probably go before we do this, but after this, sometime in December, I will tell you
the
why I'm
next show
circumcised.
you can do it.
Who the hell knows when this is going to come out?
I really
I thought
doubt
we were
this. I really doubt this show's gonna
You
get
think
like.
this is next week's episode?
I mean, literally, I think the only reason this show is at next week's show is that we have to do a memorial show because he was killed in a monkey forest. If Tim Gettys is
I'm
killed in a
probably
monkey
gonna die in
forest,
this monkey forest.
yeah, I
very
guess the
scared.
Roman Catholic Church does not condone circumcision.
Yeah, my shit was definitely because of health, because my mom's not religious.
Then my parents just were like, "Hey, man, that's what we think it should look like," and they must have done it for me. I'll get to the bottom of it.
You get a
though.
doctor that comes out and just like, hey, like you should probably do this for health reasons.
Well,
Most people are.
Most be like, "Hey, do what you need to
I mean,
do."
mostly,
man.
and they do it mostly normally like at the hospital,
Correct,
right? They're just
correct.
like, because I know
I
that.
often think about how much I lost, though.
Oh, you lost a good half inch,
You know what I mean?
inch to a half inch. It's sad. If I had it back, I'd be like, give me that. I need that half inch. I need it back.
half inches. You think how much they cut
Dude, that's
off?
why they
Must have been right,
I'd be
because everyone
fucking
else in my
pissed
family
if
is
I lost
huge.
half an inch, like a centimeter. I'd be like, all right,
They didn't cut anything.
It's worth the health.
Not,
Do you watch Shameless at all?
no, I don't.
Yeah, and Shameless is basically like this debate going on whether or not they should have their kids circumcised, and she's just like, listen, like, you know, if you're a girl and you see that thing, you know, like it just looks weird, like, and you want your kid to get this fair share of head, right? So like you need to get them circumcised.
Good point.
It's
Good
fair.
point.
Well,
And
apparently
her friend did
they
not like that answer.
They say that the uncircumcised dick is a lot more sensitive, though.
That's what I've
so
heard.
sex feels better.
See, but that's my
Yeah,
thing.
that's my
I
thing.
don't
Sex
need
feels
sex
terrible.
to feel better.
I definitely don't need it to last any longer.
That's wait, what?
I mean, be any shorter.
Yeah,
That's what I meant.
that's
That's that joke. I've been married for 6 years and would rather watch Netflix.
And apparently are just like slamming it against the side.
Wake up! This is what we practiced.
This episode of the GameOverGreggy Show is brought to you by Robinhood. What's Robinhood, you ask? It's a stock investing application for your mobile device. Kevin just installed it on his phone because he's the one who uses all the stocks. He says it's easy to use, easy to install, easy to track all of his thing. Robinhood is an investing app that lets you buy and sell stocks, ETFs, options, and cryptos, all commission free. They strive to make financial services work for everyone, not just the wealthy. Kevin, you wealthy yet? See, for everyone. I know how much Kevin makes. I don't think. Well, I don't know how your stocks are doing well though, right? You know what? We'll talk about your personal portfolio later. Why should you use the Robinhood app? The cost / no commission fees. Other brokerages charge up to $10 for every trade, but Robinhood doesn't charge commission fees, trade stocks, and keep all of your profits. It's also designed to be easy to use, as Kevin's talked about. It's easy to understand charts and market data. Place a trade in just 4 taps on your smartphone, and you learn by doing. Learn how to invest as you build your portfolio, discover new stocks, and track your favorite companies with a personalized news feed. Robinhood is giving listeners a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help build their portfolio. Sign up at greggy.robinhood.com. That's greggy.robinhood.com. They don't seem to have a slogan, so I'm going to... greggy.robinhood.com. Robinhood. Money is good, but like investing... I'll think of it.
Make smart decisions with your money.
Make smart decisions with your money. Today's episode of the GameOverGreggy Show is brought to you by PUBG Mobile. Experience the mobile game IGN. Who's IGN? Have you heard of them? I haven't. IGN calls a remarkable technical achievement. PUBG Mobile is the official mobile version of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, featuring highly intuitive and customizable controls. One of the very best mobile games available. It's also free to play. Enjoy eye-popping graphics, super smooth controls, and a variety of exciting play modes. How do we know so much about PUBG Mobile? Kevin's playing. Kevin, you're playing it.
Yes.
Is it good?
Yeah.
You like PUBG? Period. But this mobile version's scratching the itch as well.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, he says. All right.
I can play it anywhere.
Survive pulse-pounding 100-player battles on a remote island filled with danger and opportunity. Everybody knows PUBG, right? Mix it up with different play modes that include teaming up with 3 other players in squad matches, play war mode, mini zone, and quick matches for fast-paced arcade style. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, you need to go download the official mobile version of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds for free. Go to your Android or iOS app store and type PUBG Mobile, PUBG Mobile. Collect a special reward using the link and promo code provided in the episode description. Play now. Now, if you're one of those crazy people, I'll read you. PUBGmobile.com/redeem/global. Code HNUZBZ4KX. Probably one easier just to go to the description, though, right?
Yep.
Also, shout out to Patreon producer Warren Moore.
Yes.
We did the rigmarole weird because you threw me off. That's okay.
It was good, though.
I
It's
need
a
to get
good
better.
segue.
I need to get better.
My eyes are closed. Didn't expect that.
Last time you were on this show, 7 years ago.
A week ago.
Yeah, right, last week. We talked about how I'm stupid and all the dumb things I got into that I dragged you into and all these different things.
Mm-hmm.
You are now a smart person.
Well, I guess I always been a smart person.
No, you actually used to say, you used to say, I never claimed to be a smart man.
That's true.
That used to be your
That is
catchphrase.
true.
Was that even your yearbook quote?
Possibly.
Okay.
But I mean, like most of my stuff is usually stolen from elsewhere. But
Sure.
I usually screw up when I actually have the same.
Mandela effect.
Yeah. So I'm actually not stealing it completely accurately. So maybe it is mine.
Okay, you put your own spin on it.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
By accident, just because I can't remember the quote right.
So now you are a professor. You are literally Dr.
Not only that,
Poe.
I'm a tenured professor.
So they can't even fire you.
Well,
You can come on at your friend's podcast and talk about circumcision and hot sex scenes and nothing happens.
Yeah, as long as I don't say the university, because I'm not under their official sponsorship. If I get put on like WGN radio or something
Yeah.
like that, then I can do that in, my actual university, like,
Sure, if
as
you-
a
if you-
spokesman for the university. But
Gotcha,
instead,
gotcha,
this
gotcha,
is
gotcha.
just,
Here, you're just Greg's best friend. You can say
it's
whatever
just
the fuck
Poe
you
talking,
want.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Do you ever stop and think about how weird this is? That you're teaching people? Because, like, you're the kid who, like, my mom would always worry about you because when on the ride to school, you would just sleep. Well, actually, you
I was
drink
tired.
it. On the ride to school in the morning, you would eat a smiley face cookie from the 7-Eleven, drink a Sprite, and then go to bed.
I'm glad you got that right, because a lot of people think it's a Mountain Dew, but it actually is a smiley face cookie and Sprite to
Yeah.
start your day.
Yeah, that is. This
And
is
I've lived to the ripe old age of 36.
Yeah.
When did you have your first kidney stone?
That was in grad school, so I'm gonna say like 24, 25, something like that.
Do you blame the smiley face cookie and the sprites?
I don't. I blame the fact that I was working on one of my comprehensive exams, and you just kind of have to know everything about the subject matter. So all of a sudden, I'm just pounding coffee. I had right at my window, at my workstation, I had like a pot of coffee. I had that celebratory wine for kids on New Year's. It's non-alcoholic.
Martinelli's. Martinelli.
Yeah. I had like some Pepsi.
If I can stop you for a second, why the Martinelli's?
Just throw a change up in there.
Oh, okay,
you're trying to like pull,
Palate cleanser.
Yeah, you try to plow through the night, and then of course there's like a little bit of water there, just to try and
Sure.
do what you can. But like for the most part, that water glass went empty, and then it was just constantly like that. And we're talking like double big gulps from 7-Eleven
Sure.
if they have that out here. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so I'm doing all that, and then I went to the doctor's like, you have a kidney stone. I'm like, oh, how'd that happen? And they're like, do you drink a lot of caffeine? I'm like, oh yeah, recently it's been insane. And then good luck. Good luck, by the way. I thought Diet Coke.
Never had one, never gonna have one. I'm a
You ever
fucking
had a kidney
champion.
stone?
Fuck no. And I've had
Because
a
he's
low
getting
carb
thrown
diet.
to the mat. He's breaking up everything.
No, that was a big concern when people started doing Atkins diets. They were like, you're gonna get a kidney stone.
Yeah, the
because,
proteins. They're like,
yeah.
if you're pounding protein like crazy, you're not working out enough. Like, it can just build up.
Yeah,
Right
they're saying
there.
you that
That's one of my
buildup.
biggest fears.
It's easy though because they have this thing now where it's like they hit you with sound
Yeah,
waves
they hit
and it
me with
breaks it
sound
up and
waves.
it just comes out. Plus, if you have to pass a kidney stone, you can tell Gia that it's apparently as painful as childbirth, so she should not complain.
Unless you got the sound waves, then it's not a problem.
Yeah, well, just don't let her know you did that. But like, I'm a fucking man. I'm gonna pass that shit.
I'm a man with my kidney stone because I didn't take care
And
of
he
it.
had one.
Make it into a necklace.
Did he?
Yeah, he told us stories about that.
Apparently, it's very, 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 very painful, especially as it's going through the urethra.
A scary
you.
moment
Good
is
to
when
see
you
you,
actually
Rita.
get that first, like, you go to the bathroom, you're taking a piss, and all of a sudden you just see, like, your stream is red. You're like, that is not right. Did you freak out and call a doctor?
Did you pass it? They didn't have to do
No,
surgery?
like part of it fell, like a little piece broke off, fell, and then that's where I'm like, I couldn't even tell. I just like, something's wrong here. And then, yeah.
Well, that ain't right.
Yeah. So then you call the doctor, and then it's just like, okay, yeah, it's you got a kidney stone. They told me how big it was. I'm like, I'm terrified, right? Like, what am I gonna do? Like, that sounds massive. Like, oh yeah, it's so big, we're gonna use sound waves. I'm like, okay, it's like we're gonna blast it in a little sand, and then you're just gonna pee it out. I'm like, cool. But then they're like, can you catch it for us? I'm like, what? I want you to put this like funnel, and I want you to catch it so we can like look at the thing. As I started doing it, then I had all these little sand particles. I'm like, this is getting too hard. Forget this. I'm not doing this anymore.
You're like,
So-
I'm fine. I pissed that out.
Yeah.
My question, always for the doctors, is there's two options with the kidney stone. You can pass it organically, which is incredibly painful. by
Or
all
someone can
accounts.
suck it out.
or you go down to Fifth Street.
Take this quarter downtown.
Have a rat chew that thing out.
Exactly. Good
Jesus.
Yeah.
Great reference. Uncle Buck?
yes,
Yeah,
very good.
excellent movie.
Uncle fucking Bob.
Oh, you and I are going to be
Oh,
just
don't
fine.
get
Just
it.
fine.
You want to talk about
You want to talk about Uncle Buck?
encyclopedia knowledge of 80s movies that can
But
go in
the
with.
problem is I know no one's names. Like Tom Cruise is like a name I know. Most of the time, I'm like, hey Greg, tell me it in pro terms.
I have to relate it. It's like 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, but you're doing characters. So you're like, he was General Zod. He was the bad guy. He was in Groundhog Day as the kid who got WrestleMania. Oh, Michael Shane. Okay.
Yeah, that's like me with all song lyrics and titles and artists. I could not. If you did a rubric of 3 columns or like match all these together, I would just get up and walk away. I wouldn't be able to do it. 80s movies, I'm pretty good with the people in
Today,
them.
Nick, you compared Pearl Jam closer to Smash Mouth, closer to Smash Mouth than Radiohead.
Yeah. I thought my perception of Pearl Jam is apparently completely off, as Poe corrected me and Tim corrected me today. I thought Pearl Jam was this like, I thought they weren't doing much and were just getting back together once in a while to play some county fairs. And people were like, no. Poe was like, no, they're still putting out albums and they're selling out shows. And I was like, that's not true.
Every year they're playing Wrigley Field. They're doing 2 nights and they're selling out both nights. It's crazy. But again, Eddie Vedder has the Chicago ties. But
the question is also like, is that all they're doing?
No,
or are
no,
they
they're
also
always
selling out?
touring.
Because they're not selling out Giant Stadium. I'll tell you that right now. We don't stand for that shit here in California. Grunge had its time, and it was from 1990 to 1992. Everything past that was
Yeah,
a
but to be
travesty.
fair, like even the Rolling Stones don't sell out like AT&T Park.
Really? Got a weird town.
Yeah, they do.
AT&T Park?
Yeah, I think they probably do.
100%.
Rolling Stones are huge.
I would
I
think.
saw them at AT&T Park. It was not sold out.
I don't know.
Well, they leave
Maybe
a lot
some
of
on
room
an
for
off day.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Also,
Yeah.
they need a lot of cocaine to keep fucking Keith Urban. Keith Urban.
Yeah,
Wow,
Keith Urban.
days
Richards
go
goes.
by. Rolling Stones with opening act, Keith Urban.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. My perception of music is completely off. My perception of everything is completely off. Totally, 100%. I don't live in reality, as Tim and Greg will gladly tell you.
But I just, yeah, well, that's for sure.
Like, I just don't think about Pearl. Like, I'm not keeping up with Pearl Jam. Like, it blew my mind that NSYNC has a fucking Twitter feed. I was like, why does NSYNC have a Twitter handle? They're not together anymore. And why does their Twitter handle have more than mine? That's annoying.
How many more does that?
It's like 200 and some odd thousand.
Oh, see, I think it would have more than that. I thought it had more than that. I thought.
I mean, it would have if Twitter came out in 1990s fucking 8.
Hey, man, people NSYNC goes and they tour. They still sell out, right? I mean, that's their thing. No? What is going on?
They did like
NSYNC?
Yeah, Justin Timberlake, right?
I mean,
You think he's fucking hanging out with Joey Fatone?
So you're going to tell me NSYNC is still touring without Justin Timberlake?
No.
NSYNC is not touring
They're
at
not
all.
touring.
So when they do, though, they're going to have JT.
They're never touring.
What happened? They
What
had
the fuck?
there
No way.
was
They've done
JT.
reunion stuff.
But there was an NSYNC and Backstreet Boys tour at one point.
No, there was not. No.
Is
There
this
was
the
a New
Mandela
Kids-
effect?
There was a New Kids on the Block Backstreet Boys.
Okay, I'm
Because
sorry.
they didn't have a JT.
no. As a lot of people know, like, the magic of NSYNC was really the vocals of Justin Timberlake, supported by Joey Fatone's ability to just pick shit up and put it down on the other side of the stage.
Nick is laying them
In
out.
your head, Nick, what is he picking up and what is he putting down?
Speakers or whatever else needs to be moved before the show.
No, man,
they were like, Joey, you're going to have to fucking help us move some shit if you're going to stay in this band.
Dude. They brought their own
Joey
little magic.
Fatone did bring it in the back. He brought it in the back. He brought it through the back door, and he held it. And he's always smiling, Joey Fatone.
Yeah.
I challenge you to find a picture of Joey Fatone.
Joey
not
Fatone
smiling.
living the good life, you know what I mean?
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, he
One day
enjoyed-
we're gonna
he
get Joey
into it.
Fatone on the show, and I'm gonna let him punch me right in the face for all the shit that I
don't
talk.
think you need to do that. I
on
don't
Joey
think he
Fatone.
needs to worry about that. You know, he's going to lean into it and have some fun.
He's fine.
But yeah, no. So,
want him to punch
the Poe encyclopedia of movie knowledge, right? Of Disney Channel films, of his
Really?
All right.
Disney Channel original movies, DComs, you big fan?
Yeah, I never heard of the terminology before, but yeah.
A man, as a boy that I know, but as a man now, but still as a boy then, as obsessed now as he was then with the Goofy movies.
Oh, sure.
It's just all about this stuff. You know what I mean?
I got the soundtrack.
Hell yeah.
Winnie the Pooh stuff all
know
over
it.
the place. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's
Great
just
song to run to.
So good.
it terrifies me to think of you teaching sometimes. But I understand that it's the same way me driving a car scares people. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I can't. I've seen you teach. You're good at it, but I just know you so well.
But you get to pull in like what you're doing here to like just your class, right? So it's just you're gonna pull on all your examples, everything that you've been through in your life, and you start thinking like, actually, yeah, I've done a lot of this stuff, and I can relate this information
I've
to
done a
things
lot of
I've
white-collar
done.
crime.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're a professor of criminal sociology.
Yeah, so you want the whole thing?
Yeah, I do.
So, like, I'm a criminal justice professor. My PhD is in sociology with concentrations in criminology and race, ethnicity, and crime.
When you started on the career path, what was the goal? What was the end goal? Were you going to be a lawyer, or were you going to
No.
cop? Or
So I was going to be a cop. I was going to school in Minnesota, and it's like, okay, I'm going to be a cop. This is what I'm going to do. And because you basically get there, it's like, what do you want to major in? I'm like, well, I'm a runner, so I guess I could run down criminals. I'll be a cop. You know, let's do this thing. I got a major for you. It's criminal justice. Like,
Cool.
all right, cool.
You were Greg Miller's best friend.
Just a heads up.
I have
I
feet.
can run. I'm going to be a cop.
How much of that decision right there was influenced by Men in Black? By, oh man, Will Smith can run. He got recruited by the Men in Black. You know what I mean?
I don't necessarily know, but, you know, as much as I watch movies, perhaps it was
Sure.
subconscious. something along
Subconscious.
those
Yeah,
lines.
yeah,
I'm
of course,
sure
of course,
that's why a lot of people become cops.
But you look at it like, I could do this type of thing, and then you do the academy in undergrad, which is different in Minnesota than in other places, and then it's like, okay, you can be a cop in Minnesota, but do you want to be in Minnesota? And I'm like, it's really freaking cold here. I don't want to be here anymore.
You figure, though, it's got to be less crime in cold areas because people just don't want to go outside.
That is, look at that. That is perfect. So there's actually this thing when it comes to crime and weather, and the reality is, you know, the season where most crime occurs is. What do you think?
Summertime?
Exactly,
Yeah.
because of the heat. But you know, it's one of those things where you can't get it can't be like 106, right? Because at that point people go back
Too
in.
hot. Yeah,
Exactly.
way too hot.
So like you're
not
right
trying
on.
to
So
rob
like
a
during the
bank in
winter
all that
time,
Kevlar.
yeah, that's when you see the crime
rates.
rates really go down is winter because
Interesting.
you have to be interacting with people for essentially the violence to occur. See, knowledge.
Yeah.
compared to yesterday.
But like, so when do you look back and go? Because I remember when you did the police academy in Minnesota, we came up to visit you once, right?
Yep.
And it was just the nightmare stories of you being maced and you being tased,
Mace,
and
gas, tased.
and then that you showed that thing where you put your finger in my collarbone. I was not a fan of
that's
that.
like one of those things where it's just is like there's some weird things kind of going on here, and it's just like, okay, so if a person's really being a dick to you, this is what you can do, and you just take your fingers and jab them right in the throat, and they duck down. And you can just say, "Watch your head" as you do it, and you're like, wow, that's scary. Like, why is that a thing? But you're still like a kid and you're trying to process it and trying to figure out what it means.
So the story you told me in that is this, but tell me if I'm off base at all, just to give a listener some more clearance, was the fact of, Nick, I won't do it to you, but you put your hands behind your back like you're cuffed, right? And the idea would be that as you're spinning him around to put him into the car, you'd go watch your head, but you put your fingers on the other side of their collarbone.
Yeah, well,
inside their throat.
You're kind of like just poking their throat, and it's natural to duck down, and then you just hear like, oh yeah, watch out, like you're ducking down, like, oh, so if you're walking by as a bystander, you're like, watch your head, I'm being a nice police officer, watch your head, but I'm jamming you in the throat, and you're ducking down.
You're just being a dick, basically.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing that it always allows for you in that job, is just like, because of the power that you have, it does open up the door for just awful scenarios if it's in the wrong person's hands. So
did stuff like that, and I'm sure there's more stories like that, push you towards this?
No, so that got me to look in my graduate school thing. So then I'm like, I love sociology.
So if you got maced and all that stuff, you went through police academy.
Yeah, I did it all.
Did you finish police academy?
Yeah, did it all.
And that's
so
what
you're
he's
technically
saying.
a cop right now.
You
could technically arrest Greg if I asked you to.
In the state of Minnesota.
That's why I won't go back. I got in for Cisco's wedding and I got out.
That's great.
You got in there, you had some Sully or something. He was good to go.
So if you wanted to be a cop right now, would you have to go through academy again?
I would, yeah, I think so. Especially if it was going to be in a different state. So yeah, so that'd be a requirement. I forgot where I was going with this.
Well, how that led you to getting into
so I double majored in criminal justice and sociology. I was required to take a sociology course, and I loved it. And I'm like, wow, like thinking about the world differently and thinking about social forces, and this is so cool. Like I never thought of anything except like personal choice, but like look at how the stacked against you, like in poverty and all these other issues you never just really thought of. I'm like, this is so cool. And then it's like, oh, can I like double major? So I did, and then it's like I really want to like teach this. So of course, they're like your parents like, what are you gonna do with a sociology degree? I'm like, I guess you can teach it. So in order to do it, there's not a lot of sociology courses in high schools, and if you're doing that, most of the time they give it to a psychology person. So I'm like, okay, like I'd love to teach college kids. I think it'd be a blast. So I ended up doing grad school for that, and they get there and they're like, okay, what's your subfield? I'm like, what? And then I just rolled back. I'm like, you're going through the catalog, criminology. And they just kind of go back and forth. And then while you're there, I didn't really want to talk about the race stuff. And then finally, one of my professors, Dave, came up and he's just like, let's talk about race and crime. I'm like, no, like race and crime is just a factor. You don't look at it. It's just you're doing your job, that type of thing. And he just kept like, pushing me on it. And eventually I'm like, okay, fine, let's look at it. And we looked at it. I'm just like, well, this is terrifying. This is actually like ridiculous things. And this is something I should focus on. So that's where I ended up doing that. And then, it just plays off each other that, I have, the basics of like a law enforcement from an academy standpoint. But then on top of it, I'm able to talk about kind of like these racial issues that are taking place.
So when you say that, are you talking about sort of like the sort of racial biases that form these pockets of crime in like the more impoverished areas, or like the police politics, things like that? Like
you're diving just in deep when it's all this stuff. You just start looking at like
the prison industry, things like that.
Yeah, the prison industrial complex. You want to talk about just the criminal justice system as a whole. The fact that like other countries look at us and are just like, what are you doing? Like having. You just our imprisonment rate being what it is, but also just like my stuff is on disproportionate minority contact. So I look at when a police officer is stopping you, let's see what actually is happening there. And the reality is like, okay, well the standard explanation is just like I'm just doing my job. Somebody commits a crime, I have to stop them. So the reality should be, okay, well then it has to be that like minorities are committing more crime, right? That's the only way you can have the disparity where it is. But then I'm doing some research and having like self-report data, and you actually see that minorities and whites at the same level, they're actually end up committing crime, the exact same crimes. So at that point, then what's going on?
So there is an unfair bias against minorities.
It's a system issue.
Yeah, I heard a really interesting interview on Joe Rogan's podcast with a Baltimore police officer. I forget the guy's name, but he was talking about how he had to quit being a cop because there was a lot of direction that led them to kind of targeting more minority popular areas because a lot of like he didn't say, I don't think he used the word quota, but he basically related that to basically a cycle of sort of institutionalized racism. Where they were basically like, if you're told that black people create or commit more crimes, then you have to go out and monitor that harder, and you have to pull more people over, and then that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, basically, of like, if you're only pulling black people over, then the crime rates are going to be pretty huge in the black community because you don't pull white people over. And I'm clearly getting a lot of this wrong, so you guys could search for that and take that out. But it was very fascinating. He was like, I got to talk out against this because it's giving people misinformation, and a lot of that is building into sort of like the privatized prison industry and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, privatized prisons are just terrifying.
Probably the stupidest idea we ever had.
They have something there where it's just like it's a private prison, and there's an agreement that you will have these beds filled. So we're gonna find people to fill the beds. It's like it's just awful.
What are you seeing now that weed is starting to be legalized? Because I know a lot of people are in jail or have been put in jail because of marijuana possession.
Yeah, I mean, but marijuana possession got down to like if you had personal use, then they would end up becoming just a finable offense, at least in a lot of states.
Okay.
So that's not as relevant of a factor. I once was working security at a job, and I found like the small stuff, and I'm like, oh, I got to call the police, and the guy's like, next time you find this amount, can you just do this for me? And he just threw it in the garbage. He's like, then I'll have to pay for it.
Or smoke it. Go and put that in your body.
But I mean, like there's a really good documentary if you're into documentaries on Netflix called 13th, and it just really talks about like kind of the war on drugs and like how politicians from both Republican and Democrats, how they played a role in the prison population being what it is today. I think it's really great. I mean, it's just one small factor that is relevant when it comes to this issue. But like, you brought up a good point before is like, it's a systemic issue. So like, if you can kind of take away the idea that like, because I have this all the time, like I have students like, my dad's a cop, like he's a great guy. I'm like, I'm not saying he's not. I'm talking about like, let's look at the system of oppression that kind of existed. I mean, if you think about from back in the day, and there's my guy who does the history podcast was talking about it, like when you look at this and you start focusing on the idea of like, who put in laws about runaway slaves and who's going to enforce those? Well, congratulations, that's law enforcement, and they're just doing their job, right? That's a classic thing that you hear, like runaway slave, law enforcement has to go track them down. When you're looking at the civil rights movement, who's holding the fire hose? When during these protests are happening, well, that's law enforcement again, and this is not that long ago. So now you still have these these issues that are coming forward, and you're just kind of looking at it's always been a system that has been stacked against minorities. So what can we do to kind of like tear down the system or do something to definitely reform the system if it's even possible.
It's very fascinating.
And do you think it's possible? I think that's the thing we struggle with a lot when we do these serious topics. I always go back to the Ferguson episode, right?
Yeah.
Where it just ended and it was just me mad.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It's going to get, next week, this big thing's going to happen. It'll be a school shooting. It'll be a terrorist attack. It'll be whatever. We'll forget about this. And then in 6 months, something like this will happen again. And then it'll become, you know what I mean? Like it gets lost in the cycle.
The scariest thing that's happened is that there's just lines in the sand now. It's either like, like Black Lives Matter versus, all lives matter. And just like, okay, Black Lives Matter didn't say that, other lives don't matter. They're just saying Black Lives Matter too. Does that help you? Like, so like you start looking at that and like law enforcement and like, has a line out, and it's just like, you're with us or against us. I'm like, well, that's scary as hell because guess what? That means that there's law enforcement and there's everyone else. It's like, that's not good.
Yeah, that's kind of a police state at that point.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's whether or not you could actually do something about that. I mean, the big thing right now is like, what's going to happen in Chicago. The Laquan McDonald case is happening. So it's like, this is something that everyone's on alert, like what's going to happen in Chicago.
I'm not familiar with that.
Please refresh our memory on that.
Yeah, that was the kid who was he was running, from the police, and I mean, I can't really go into specific details with it, but like you see on the video camera the police officer shoot him, and he shoots him, like 12, 15 times, something
on the
like
body
that.
cam.
Yeah. And then it's like, this whole thing, and like so they're bringing charges against the police officer, and then if the police officer is found not guilty, I mean, similar to what happened up here with Oscar.
The Fruitvale Station.
Fruitvale Station. Yeah. Just blank on his name, but it was Oscar or something. But same thing.
Similar to happen with Rodney King.
Yeah. So you're looking at these things of like what's going to happen.
Oscar Martinez.
Look at it.
But yeah, so it's one of those things where. Yeah, I mean, like Chicago's on alert. Like, what's going to happen if this guy's found not guilty? What's going to happen?
I mean, do you feel like body cams are kind of the answer to this?
Body cams are great, and the problem though is you have a lot of malfunctioning, which I don't really like. The reality should be like
Oscar Grant.
Yeah, Oscar Grant. Yeah. If you end up having a body cam malfunction, you should just be accountable for that. Whatever happened, like maybe at that point, it's just like, we're not going to believe the law enforcement. Because if it's just like, you're a citizen and it's a police officer, we believe the police officer over the citizen, right? Because the police officer is the law.
Right.
And there's what
because and to be fair, most people, myself included, when I got pulled over for parking ticket or for speeding tickets,
correct,
I will lie my ass off to try to get out of that speeding ticket.
So what'd you see?
I don't know what happened. Suddenly the car went faster.
You want a party officer? It's me, Nick Scarpino. It's just
I've been drinking Diet Coke all day. I'm hammered all day. Yeah.
But would you have these situations and you're trying to like, the body cam malfunction, and then just like did it, and you see people just smashing cameras?
Well, yeah, but I mean, to play devil's advocate, of course, it's technology, so there is going to be a small or a good percentage of them that do malfunction.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing perfect. Like my iPhone is probably the best piece of technology that I have, and every once in a while the fucking screen just freezes.
Yeah, but that's
it's
where like, the more
iPhone.
you can have towards resources, towards that, like
right.
the camera.
You gotta have bulletproof. Like they put them in the dash cams, they have all that stuff. I feel like the more. I feel like I want to, with anything, you want to incentivize good behavior. And I firmly believe there's a lot of great people out there who are in law enforcement, and they're just there to do
100%.
To do what they're supposed to do, which is to protect and serve. Right? It's on the side of the cars in LA. It's on the side of the cars probably here. I don't know if it's everywhere, but I think a lot of people live by that.
And it's the traditional, I think, problem with, not problem, but the problem with media of just like what gets reported is when it goes wrong. And then it seems like it's always going wrong. When in reality, the majority of cops are going out and doing their jobs and being great, and we're not, and it's not on the news like these cops diffuse this situation perfectly.
Right. And like so yeah, we're not. I don't want anyone to misinterpret this. Like, I know that there are tons of people out there that are just doing their job, and all of the emergency services are around the United States. What I think is, if I were a cop, I'd be like, I want this shit on me at all times. I want to be 100% bulletproof, no pun intended, for anyone making any accusations against me. I would want to, and if I were the chief of police, I'd be like, I want to incentivize my cops to be as protected as possible against false accusations, because then they can feel good about going out there and just doing their job. Yeah, and it will inherently probably, and you correct me if I'm wrong, weed out the people who will be like, fuck, I got to figure out a way for this thing to malfunction, right?
So like you end up having, like I had a Secret Service agent come and talk about like the exact same thing you're talking about, which is like, listen, like I question, if you don't want to have an active camera running, I question you being in law enforcement, because this way it does help with all those cases. Like everything's on file. When the person said this is what happened. When this person said that, this is it right here. Like we got nothing we can talk about.
I mean, as a person who spends the majority of his life on camera, that's what I would want. I would be like, I want start to finish time code of this thing, no interrupts, no nothing. I pulled this person over, it went south or whatever, and this is just the way it's gonna go.
But things that get me is just like, what they'll do is then like after a big shooting like this, they'll bring in like local people and they'll be like, what would you do in this situation? And it's just like, well, that's an unfair test because they're not trained in these circumstances whatsoever. And like, you're supposed to be the best of the best and know how to handle these things.
It's also hard though, because how do you, like, this is the other thing that I struggle with, right? Is how do you train a human being to deal with that level of fear, panic? You've got the quickness with which these situations go down. You have to make a split-second decision that forever alters one of your lives. Well, like that's an impossible thing to expect a human being to do.
True, but like, if I'm overstepping about it, I don't think so. But like, you told me like terrifying story from cop camp. I remember, right? Where they drilled you all day long on how to use, like for weeks probably, your entire cop camp on how to be a cop or whatever and use your gun and all that stuff. And I remember you telling me a story when we came to visit that one time of how you had the dream that you were doing the drills, and when you woke up, you were on the ground with your hand pointed out like you had a gun, like down the hallway or something, right?
Yeah. I mean, just because like, we weren't sleeping a lot and you're
kind of indoctrinated into it a little bit. Yeah. They do that with the military a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. Like there is the police academy has those, saying like clean shaven. They go by and they, see if you got any scruff going on, like, so they're trying.
This wouldn't fly.
They're trying to do the. But they're trying to be somewhat military, but not 100%. When it comes to some of that type of training that is existing. I mean, there's some really great technology out there, like shoot, don't shoot exercises. But you're right to try and get that fear of what you're going to do. But like the reality of the situation that we have right now is like you'll have so many people that are just living in, their community of their race, and they're used to that. And what they know of other things are, from other races are things on the news, and, and then there's this fear that's built up. And then like, so what are you going to do like in this situation? And you see like the crazy videos of like, there's a crazy white guy and he's like got a gun and they're like trying to talk him down. And you're like, what, how does this make sense, compared to other things?
Yeah.
And
if that guy were in a different skin color in a different
place. Where they
place.
reach for their license or whatever.
Yeah. But like with this is one of the, it's one of the best things possible, but it shows how all the systems are related. And that's like, if you live in a more diverse community, you're less likely to have these issues. And that makes sense. And if you have more education, you're less likely to have these issues. Like, this is things that are important, but like to learn that like my next door neighbor is an African American man, and you're like, and guess what? Like, I didn't see him on the news, and you feel like, okay, and then you start to think differently.
Well, it makes sense because obviously like inherent biases are just based on kind of the fear of the unknown, right? You don't understand something, so your natural inclination as a human is to question things about it, and not understanding is a scary thing.
Yeah.
And so the more you can do to diffuse that, like I feel like I feel like it was a big eye opener for me to move into even a place like San Francisco, and then recently, obviously, started doing comedy. Being around a tremendously way more diverse group of people has changed me. It has like, not that I was the world's biggest racist going around, but like the more you spend,
you're in the amateur leagues of racism.
No, I mean I'm definitely in double A when it comes to that. But no, but everyone has an unfair bias, right?
Sure.
That you're conditioned to have. Especially, I come from an Italian family, and I have a lot of like older like grandparents and great aunts and uncles that are from Jersey. And man, the shit that I've heard them say, I'm like, I don't know if you mean that or not, but man, you can't say that shit anymore. Yeah. Like you can't. I mean, most of them have passed away by now, so we weeded that out the old-fashioned way. But when you start hanging out with people, it changes your perspective, and it humanizes people in a lot more way than you do by just sitting behind a screen and letting the mainstream media give you the most juicy story of horrible shit that humans can do to each other. Not to say that they shouldn't do that, because a counter argument for your point is we should absolutely be pointing out every single time something goes wrong. Because we need those as examples of
I'm not
how
saying
can we
that.
fix it. I know what you're saying.
I'm just saying, for a similar
Right.
thing what Poe's saying, right? If you don't have a diverse community, if you don't have this, you don't stop to think about it.
Right.
All you hear, it's like, oh man, all the news is always bad news. It's like, well, the bad news is generally what you need to know, right? What you're talking about, what's happening that you should be active about.
Yeah. And I would say when things happen, just watch. And you can try and come to your own conclusions when it comes to things, because it's just so easy that they'll put you in like one camp or the other. Like if I'm going to tell you about an officer involved shooting that happened, it's just like nothing right now. So like, oh well, it wasn't their fault, or it was the officer's fault. Like you have nothing else.
You haven't decided on that.
But people
yet.
just jump into things right away, and they're like, okay, well, I have to back the blue, or I have to black the civilian involved. Like, so you're looking at these things kind of like, well, no, like I always like my students to like process what's going on, learn about what's going on, because the news will love to jump right away to things, and that's really annoying. But so those things you have to kind of take a look at. And then the other thing is, I guess, and we had talked about it just in kind of like racial issues to begin with, and it's the hardest thing to do. You just got to call people on their stuff. You have to start getting them to try and think differently, and you have to try and actually have a conversation that's very, very uncomfortable. Yeah. Instead of just being like, hey, that was a racist joke, and I'll just kind of like do nothing, or I'll nod, let's talk about it, and let's talk about why this is not okay.
Sure.
And try and see what you can, go from there. Because
I think a lot of people don't want to have those conversations and don't want to be proven wrong or don't want to be called out on anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you see a lot.
Well, it's like the
people
Thanksgiving
just want to
thing.
double down and go into their own little camp where it's secure. What did you say?
It's like the Thanksgiving thing where it's just like, you're dreading like a conversation that like turns to politics or something. You're just like, oh man, here we go. And like,
get out of this as fast as possible.
Exactly.
Don't,
like,
be done with it.
Have you seen what the Bears are up to lately? You try and turn the subject, and because it's just like at some point you feel like your conversation is going nowhere. Like, but the best thing you can do, and this is, something is like, if there is a conversation that is going on that is wrong and uncomfortable and it shouldn't be happening, you can at least make it known to like, listen, like I'm not happy with the way this conversation is going. I'm just leaving the room. I'm not gonna put up with it. So at least they're on notice that I left because of what you're talking about. So and they can laugh it off at you or whatever, but at least it's something.
Yeah, I always think it's interesting because I I have very interesting reactions to things, and I'll always look at it and be like, why did I have that reaction? Like, why am I having this very quick, like passionate, almost like raging reaction to something when it comes to like the political sphere and stuff like that? And there's always so many interesting underlying reasons underneath the skin. Right. And most of the time it doesn't have anything with me to do with necessarily what's happening on the political level, but more of just like there's so many things that I view as being completely out of control. And I feel like if I can argue this point and win this point, that maybe I can have like some agency over what's going on in Washington right now, just shit like that. And I feel like people just I just don't. It's so hard to start talking specifically about like Trump or specifically about politics with people, even for me, because being from San Francisco, like I have that reaction of like, no, you're wrong. You're just wrong.
Yeah.
Right. And in reality, it's like there's got to be some more room in there for you to at least listen to why they think they're right.
Exactly. And like for a lot of times, like I know where I'm at on these different issues and things like that because I've learned through the process. But instead of thinking about like for me, like okay, here's a first time freshman going to college. Like their world is so small.
Well, their world is probably whatever their parents' world was.
Exactly.
And that was me as well. Like my world was very much like. Coming from a slightly more conservative leaning household, like that's that, and then moving to Orange County, Irvine of all places, which is the most Republican place probably in all of California. Your perspective is something different than it is living and growing up in San Francisco. It's just going to inherently be different. And that was me. And I don't know. It's tricky, but you do like similar with the cops, like what you're talking about is you have to take everything by case basis, and that's the same with policy at the policy level and all that stuff. It's just who the fuck has the time for that? Who's going to really dig in and be like, let's talk about like NAFTA and should we have done away with that and what are we redoing with that? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, that's
Trump did it so it sucks, or Trump did it so it's the best thing ever.
Oh yeah, this is where the political scientists kind of dive in and look at that. Sometimes and it's hard. We're like every day, if there's something crazy that's happening, how do you not just at some point just try and plow through and not focus on it and just like I got to do what I got to do to get through today.
Yeah.
But like then if you kind of like we are in a nice situation of power, like if we're all white males sitting at this table right now, so like if you can think about what's happening, to people who don't have the same power and try and be like something needs to be done, something needs to happen because like if it's going to happen anywhere, it's probably going to happen top down. So it's hard and it's frustrating and you kind of just want to like not pay attention, but it's you have to do what you can.
So what is the next step for people like us? What is the thing you can do, right? Like you're teaching people, okay. Yeah. You're having conversations with them, pushing your bias. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's the liberal college professor bias.
There
right?
you go. There it is.
Where
exactly.
it's just like people are like, I need to talk about all the sides and do all this stuff. And I'm just like, I'm just going to prevent you with, here's facts. Like here are facts that are out there. One thing I didn't bring up about the housing issue that's a problem is the fact that when you have lawsuits that are in place where like a real estate person will only show you communities like you're white in white communities. Like this was a lawsuit that took place. Like you're just creating more of the problem. There's another institution that's out there that's causing issues. So, but what's my
yeah? So I mean, like, first off, do you see it getting better in law enforcement? Like, is it like where are we at with that kind of stuff in terms of like what you're seeing, especially because you're talking about going back to civil rights era to here.
Yeah, I mean, like some would argue in the race community that you just changed the game, but it used to end up becoming like a more overt racism in your face, and now it became more covert, where you're just like, there's just something I don't like about this person, and you're just like, okay, like I wonder what that is.
Interesting.
Or probably one of the most scariest moments out there is just like, I'm not a racist, but dive under a table, because whatever's coming out, or like I'm not a sexist, but, and like you're just like whatever's coming out next is going to be awful.
Yeah, it's gonna be
like
bad.
Just got to look out for that type of thing. But like, I mean, you're trying to, for you guys, I mean, like you do have, you have a voice, you have, ways to contact people. I mean, like, so people are listening to you, and it gives you the opportunity to have conversations. And I mean, that's again, it's we talk about it before. Like we can talk about Undercooked 2,
Overcooked 2, Undercooked 2.
Yeah, it's Undercooked when I play it.
Some of those burgers were
undercooked and on
Guess
fire.
what though, Joey? Two guys right here who beat it, and all the Kevin levels. No big deal.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you don't invite me over. It's really sad.
We win?
You could have done this months ago.
But it's hard to like, maybe somebody's tuning in to get away from just seeing the things that are on the news. So you like a lighter side is good, but then sometimes it's just like, to have the audience to be like, we need to talk about this issue. We need to figure out what's going on with our society today. Because a lot of times it's just easier, like, let's not talk about it. Let's not, have those tough conversations.
Sure.
Because what if I say something wrong? What if I do something wrong? And it's better to have those conversations and just see where you go from there.
Yeah, I feel like we are eternally at the Thanksgiving table. The three of us at this table, the people that work here or in media, and
We're
like
at the kids' table.
I'm at the kids' table. But I feel like that is a good analogy to use, because you have to have that hard conversation, and I feel like we are the sort of one of the pathways for that for a lot of people is like, we're not afraid to just have, or we shouldn't be afraid to have the conversation occasionally and maybe get a little bit wrong, but educate ourselves as we're going and educate everyone out there and listen to them and have that feedback loop going.
Yeah. And there's a book out there, it's Racism Without Racist. It's by Eduardo Benito Silva. It's advanced, it's graduate school work, but you can do it. I believe in the Kind of Funny audience. But the reality is, like,
people out there.
The first line is like, I'm not here to call people racist. Like, we're going to talk about the system that people are a part of, and this is how things are. And it's like, and people have a hard time doing it because it's like, I say this or I do this, and it's like, well, they're not calling you out on it. They're calling out the system. And then like, if you do say these things, can you change, you know? And if you're knowledgeable of these things, you know, where do you go from here? So, I mean, and that's the thing is like, you want to get frustrated with that person that you're having a conversation with, and you're just like, why don't you get it? And then to realize like, maybe you just haven't seen it, or maybe you haven't learned these concepts, you know, before. Like, and to be able to take a step back and be like, okay, well, I'm going to have a conversation. I'm going to see if I can, you know, teach you about a subject or something along those lines. But it's hard. You have to read people and try not to turn them off to the subject matter. But you'll find that all the time. Like, you know, you'll see people that like, I'm going to go to my corner, this is how it's going to be. Or you'll see like, I'm willing to have a conversation about this and let's see where it goes. So.
So talk it out.
Yeah, well, there's a lot more to it. But
no,
I mean,
that's it. That's your class from here on out. Hey, everybody, day one. Just talk it out.
Talk it out.
You can solve the problems that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gonna show your students these episodes of the Game Over Greggy show?
No,
Are you prepared for any of them to find it?
We'll see. But I enjoyed that the first part of this attached to this is just crazy.
That's how we do it.
That's
the Game Over Greggy show. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Game Over Greggy show each and every week. 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table, each bringing a random topic discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny, where you can toss us a few bucks. Maybe you get the pre and post show. What's going to happen on the post show? I'm going to talk about a phone call I got. On
post
this
show?
That's left me mystified. I had a phone call during this show that we need to talk about, and I think Tim might have some answers, but otherwise I don't know. If you don't want to toss us any bucks and get the shows early, you can wait the following Friday, 1 week later, after it posts on patreon.com/kindafunny. It goes up on youtube.com/kindafunny and podcast services around the globe. Poe, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure.
2 in a row.
I know, 2 in a row, huh? Unless like you said, unless you're dead. Unless you're dead.
For a guest coming back twice?
So doing back to back.
Definitely he's set up. No one's ever done back to back before.
Yeah.
If done right, no can defend.
That is something we say here often.
Great movie.
Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you. Thanks for watching the Game Over Greggy show, everybody. Click up here to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click down there to subscribe to our Patreon. It really helps. Click over here to check out Kinda Funny Games. That's right. We talk about video games if you didn't know that and you're just one of those MCU people that showed up and don't know anything else. And then click down there for the Cool Greg Fun Hole. I don't know what's in it. Whatever we want there, man.